What's up, guys? Welcome back. Bear down. We're here for one more day. This is what we all built up for, all the fun, the excitement. I know we were a little let down yesterday. I'm going to show some things that maybe make you feel a little bit better. They really did fill out the roster pretty well before the draft. I think we were just looking for more competition, more depth at certain spots. And so I think they can do that today still, though. Remember, we got Austin Booker in the fourth round, traded a fifth round pick. No, we got him in the fifth round. We traded a fourth round pick for him a couple years ago. I was very high on Austin Booker that year, too. I thought we could take him in the third round. And there's some players like that this year. Danny Dennis Sutton is one that I've said should go in the second, third round. And here we are sitting in the fourth round. It's potential we could get him. Darrell Jackson Jr. for the defensive tackle position is a guy that I thought we could potentially take in the third round. And here he is sitting in the fourth round. So there's some good players to be had still. The Bears hit positions of need. That's the most important thing as we, look over this thing and as we look at the draft. And ultimately, that's what's important. Do I love the picks we took? First one, absolutely. One of my favorite players in this draft. I was so excited when we took Dylan Thieneman. Logan Jones, absolutely. A lot of fans don't realize centers started coming off the board right after that. The Bears took the number one center that they wanted. A guy that was comped to Tyler Linderbaum, who just got paid the most historic center contract ever. So the fact that the Bears got the center they wanted is a good thing. This is a guy that you're going to pair up for years. Garrett Bradbury is only here for one more year. And New England did the exact same thing last year. They took Jared Wilson in the same range, had him sit behind Bradbury for a year, and now he's starting for them this year in New England, and New England went to the Super Bowl. So, it's all relative. The only other two picks, Sam Roosh, we can look at him in just a minute. In fact, here's Twitter for Sam Roosh. It's kind of fun. I was just looking at stuff this morning. I did not look at the tight ends that were at the top of this draft, but most had him as right in this 90 to 100 range. So the fact the Bears got the tight end they wanted in a tight end heavy league when everybody is overdrafting, we'll say overdrafting the tight end position. There's a lot to like about this kid. I like the seventh round range for tight ends, but the Bears said this is one of our positions of need. We're going to go get it now. So we can look through this a little bit, but there's some fun stuff to listen on this kid. Just seems like a solid high character kid that is going to fit really well. He's not just a blocking tight end. He plays very solid. Showing the blocking here. He is, 267 pounds. I more looked at him as just a blocking tight end. He moves very fluid. Sorry about that. I had a little heartburn there. But that's him over here on the edge. Boom, block, seal, cut his guy off. Perfect. So there's a lot to like about Sam Roosh. I think we just wanted him a little bit later. And that's what all these picks, I think what you're tending to see is that the Bears are going to go get the guys they fell in love with. So even though he was projected 90 to 100, 110, taking him, at a little bit earlier than that is not the worst thing in the world. I think the most confusing one. Oh, did I not add that to stage? I didn't. Oh, hold on. I'm sitting here looking at Twitter while I'm talking to you guys, and I wasn't even, didn't even have it on screen. I apologize. So here's him running the gauntlet. There's some of the stuff I was looking at here as you just go through Bears Twitter. There's him sealing off, blocking the edge here on this side over here. So, he's a solid player, just not someone we expected this early in the draft. I think all of us expected to take that defensive tackle, defensive
every day,
position by
no
now.
matter how I felt. Early mornings, long practices,
That's what I was saying a second ago. But anyways, we'll take that off screen. So let me pull up some of the positional groups. I think that will, I think that will help people feel a little bit better this morning because the Bears filled out their roster a lot. We just need more depth and more competition at more positions. So if we let's start here. Let's look at the offensive line. So I put a little bear head in the spots where we might pick up more guys. But as you're getting down to the third tier, these are your, future reserve. These are your undrafted free agent slots. The Bears have filled out the offensive line now. Center was a massive spot of need for the future. Now, I'm not saying Logan Jones is going to start this year. I think they follow the same path that the Patriots did last year, where Garrett Bradbury does start Logan Jones, but I'm just putting him there because he's the center of the future. The Bears view him that way, or they wouldn't have drafted him here. So, and at the bottom, bottom right corner there, you'll see our running total, 72 players. So for the roster, we're going to fill out 19 more. We get an international exemption for Torrey Taylor. We've used it every year. So we'll have 91 men on the 90-man roster this year. So we'll have 19 more players. We're going to pick 4 today, minimum. 4 today. Okay, so that's 76. We're going to fill out probably 10 undrafted free agents, and then we'll pick up a couple, low-level. I shouldn't say low-level because I should say low-value contracts, some league minimum contracts of guys that are trying to prove themselves. And so here's the offensive line. The top row is all filled. So, yeah, we can fit another tackle in this draft. We can pick up an undrafted free agent. We're going to take 16 guys typically into camp for 90-man roster. As you go to the wide receiver position, look at the wide receiver spots. Tight end spots are filled. We've got 6 typically we take into camp. Now we've got Colson Loveland, Cole Kmet, and Sam Roosh. We've got Nikola Kalinick, Stephen Carlson, and Kadir Ishmael as, those lower-level camp bodies for 90-man camp. 2 of them will probably be on the practice squad when we start the season. But the Bears have typically taken between 10 and 12 wide receivers into 90-man camp. With Xavier Thomas, now we have – is it Thomas or Jones? Did I screw that up? Man, now I'm second-guessing myself on everything here. What was – let me hurry. Xavier Jones? Why do I feel like it's Jones? Did I screw up my graphic? It's Thomas. Oof. Why did I have everything different in my head? I apologize, guys. Sometimes when we get going too much draft stuff, it gets me a little kerfluffled too. Xavier Thomas. We're going to pick up some more wide receivers. Let's look at the defensive tackles. Here's the one spot I think fans are frustrated with. There's 2 spots left on this roster, and typically we pick up some undrafted free agents. That's what Jamari Kamara was a couple of years ago. But the Bears really like Montez Sweat, Austin Book. It was interesting last night. Let me make me a little bigger for this. Then I'm going to get to the chat here in a minute. It was interesting last night when Ryan Poles spoke. They asked about the defensive line, and he only brought up the edges. He only brought up Austin Booker, Montez Sweat, Dayo Odengbo, Shamar Turner. He didn't even talk about the interior. But then he said it didn't fall to us the way we wanted to. We'll address that today. So I would expect day 3 right now as we get ready for pick 129 and pick 144. One of those has got to be a defensive tackle. Because, yeah, Jervon Dexter might start the year at 3 tech, but, man, he's really not showing that he's it. And we need some more depth there. So I would expect a defensive tackle and edge today. Those are both important positions. And then look at how many we still need. Safety depth, cornerback depth, nickel depth. I won't be shocked if we pick up a corner today or a safety. Interesting. Jalen Husky was a guy I was very high on. A lot of people thought I was crazy for saying he's above a 7th rounder. He got drafted in the 3rd round yesterday at the end of the 3rd round after we logged off. Jalen Husky is a guy I was very high on. So your mock draft simulators had him in the 7th round as an undrafted free agent, though. And then linebacker, not really a high position of need, just one more spot. So the draft has started now, so let's jump in there and let's follow it as it goes, and then I'll get to comments here as we get following with the draft. All right, so here's the draft pulled up. Let's make it bigger. There we go. Let's check out the chat. Thanks for tuning in, guys. 145 of you in the chat. If you don't mind hitting the like button, it's a lot of fun to do this with you guys. Day 3. This is what we build up to on this channel. This is a draft-centered channel. So a lot of players available. Let's get to the chat first, and then I'll go over there. What's up, Chief Latero? We got Jeff Potter. I am Joe 1T. We got to get defensive data, man. I completely agree. We've got to. I mean, really, safety, cornerback, defensive tackle, defensive end. Maybe you sprinkle in a running back, but remember, Xavier Thomas has played running back, and he's really kind of a Jahmyr Gibbs type of guy. I don't know if we hit another running back in this draft now. I don't. I know we like the Kentucky running back, and we like a couple of the other running backs that are still available. But the Bears have solidified some of the most basic needs. We got to hit a couple more. Defensive tackle, defensive end, cornerback, and we should be pretty solid. And then we'll obviously, as soon as the undrafted free agents start rolling out today, I'll hit those up as soon as we get them. All right. We got hanging with the cat. We've got Grizzly Gators 6241. After sleeping on it, I feel a lot better on the tight end pick last night. Let's fill out the defense tonight. 100% agree. I think everyone feels a little better a day later. I think it's easier to feel better after you realize that was a need. We just didn't want that need quite so high. We wanted to hit some other things. So, yeah, Roush is not just a crack it guy. He's by far the most handsome Chicago Bears player, new face to the franchise. Also really good hands, too. So that's pretty funny. Zion wasn't a reach. Poll said Ben was sketching plays right next to him during the draft. Darren Sproles, Debo. I was happy with the Logan. Yeah, I think everybody wanted that a little later, but I kind of predicted that one was going to happen. The center was going to happen earlier than a lot of fans had realized. Tony Moyes in the chat. At least the offense should be rolling now. I feel really confident about this offense. Jermod McCoy's finally off the board. So the Raiders now at the first pick. I'll switch over there real quick. So they just announced the first pick, the 4th round. The Raiders traded up one spot, it looks like. And they have now selected Jermod McCoy. So the injured cornerback with huge high upside potential, amazing 2024 season is now he's now a Las Vegas Raider. 4th round, great place to take him. So phenomenal. I mean, for them to take it. Let's look at the defensive interior real quick. I think that's the biggest need for the Bears. Darrell Jackson Jr. is a player I really like because he's super athletic freak, high upside potential, just very developmental. The other one I really like is Dante Corleone, and he looks like a Bear too. If you look at him, I don't have a picture here for him, but man, he looks like a grizzly bear. So I really hope we get one of those two. We'll see how the board falls. But for defensive ends, there's actually a lot that I like here. Danny Dennis Sutton was one of my favorites in the late 2nd, early 3rd round. Kind of a down season for Penn State, so I wonder if that kind of factored into it. Not a big fan of LT Overton, but in this range, that would be a fine pick. Mikael Kamara is another really good one. Mason Rager, Nadeem Tucker, Max Lewin, Caden Curry. There's a lot of good options here. And Ben Johnson did mention early on before the draft, this is a deep defensive end class. So the Bears could be looking at that as the reasons why they've held off a little to fill some of the other positions where they love some of these players and they wanted to get them before anybody else did. All right, let's go down and look. I mean, I'm not going to be able to get all to you. BLK Rob 73. Color me crazy, but I want defensive line that doesn't give up 34 points a game. I agree. We're probably going to score 34 points a game, 35 points a game, but we need to fix the defense for sure. Yeah, Xavier Thomas has a solid drop rate, only 4.5%. So he's got a small catch radius. As you look at the tape on him, his catch radius isn't wide. Caleb's going to have to be pinpoint accurate with him. It's got to come right into his chest. But, if he's in stride and it hits him, he's not got long arms. So if he's going deep ball, Caleb's got to be accurate. Those two can connect, and he doesn't drop it. It'll be great. Longhorn Jeff, bear down, buddy. Yeah, that's probably why I screwed up. Look in the ticker. See that? I screwed up somewhere. I knew what was going on. Appreciate you letting me know. Let me fix it real quick. I always screw something up, guys. I always screw something up. Xavier Thomas. There we go. Save. Update. Boom. Thanks for letting me know. My head gets off when I'm throwing all these things together and trying to go through everything fast. Demonte Capehart's not a terrible pick either. I think he's a little slower. Elarms Orr would be a decent pick. Yeah, Greg Gabriel said Roush isn't just a blocking tight end. He'll be on the field all the time. Your tight end 3 will be on the field all the time. There's 13 personnel sets. And the league has shown what they think about tight ends because all these projections were into the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th round and a ton. There was a big run on tight ends into the 3rd round of yesterday. So, man, can we sort this by not best available, but I don't know how to do that here. By who's already drafted. Let me go see the draft. Who's been drafted? Because there was a run on tight ends. There was a wide run of tight ends there at the 3rd round. Let's see if we go here to PFSN. Let's see. Should have known where to look this up beforehand. Anyways, we'll do it later. We'll do it later. Let's go back to the draft here and see if anything is updated. Go to later, see if the Bills have picked. The Bills have picked. They took Jude Bowery, the tackle from Boston College. So he's off the board. Jets are on the clock next. We're about 26 picks away from the Bears. So it'll be a hot minute before we get there. But two important picks here coming up next for the Bears. Let me get caught up here with you guys. G Mike is in the chat. Michael Dorn, Rhino, Chi-Town J. I want Curry now. Yeah. So out of all these defensive ends, who do you guys want the most? I think for me, I want defensive interior more than anything. I'd really like to see Darrell Jackson fall to us, Dante Corleone fall to us. Those would be phenomenal picks for us. I mean, there's even some here a little later, but I mean, we're getting thinner at defensive interior. Edge, there's so many options here. If Danny Dennis Sutton is there, don't pass up on him. He could be, the next guy that you get a steal on in the fourth round. But Mikael Kamara, Mason Rager, Caden Curry, there's a lot of really good options here coming up. Oh, there goes Darrell Jackson Jr. to the Jets. So my little dream there is gone. Darrell Jackson Jr. off the board. And they're showing it on TV right now. The Jets have had a pretty good draft so far. So have the Browns. Some of these teams that have struggled are starting to get some momentum. But it's just the draft. People need to develop. It takes time. And you got to have good coaching. You look at that. That's the biggest thing. Good coaching fixes a lot of things. And that's the one thing the Bears have gotten right. Proctor's not a bad pick either. Yeah, that's true. 2 picks ago when the Bears comp pick would have been right there in that same range. Would have been nice to have that comp pick, wouldn't it? Jeez. Did you see yesterday Ian Cunningham was the one making the phone calls? It wasn't Matt Ryan in there. He's in the war room. It's just that whole thing is just a load of bull. Yeah, there's Jalen Husky, who I liked a lot. Julian Neal I liked too. Those were the end of the comp picks. That was the last comp pick. This is right where the Bears would have been, right at 100, 101. So Jermod McCoy, Darrell Jackson Jr., both picks that would have been nice for the Bears. But it is what it is. No use crying over spilled milk. Isn't that the saying? No use crying over spilled milk. Well, here's the thing with the UDFAs. You pick up UDFAs every year, and as I go through all these, you look at where the bear heads are, where we need players. It's down the depth chart. I mean, we're not looking at starters for UDFAs. Got to probably pick up another wide receiver, but you're only going to carry 5 to 6 on the roster anyways. So is that last one they're going to make the roster anyways? Probably not. You look down here, defensive tackle should definitely make it. The edge would be rotating. He would be on the roster because Dio's going to start the season on the IR. There's going to be some competition there, and you want that. But then the nickel, some of these cornerbacks and safeties, they're going to be backup. They're going to be guys that aren't going to make the roster. So these UDFAs aren't going to come in here and really be competing. I mean, they'll compete, but they're not going to be guys that are making the roster anyways. Bear down, Bears Nation. Keith Hall, thanks for joining us. Let's go, Bears. Job, Bears. Don't be sad. There's so much to be excited about. Just because we took players earlier, I mean, there's a second way to look at that. Obviously, the Bears loved these players, and that's the way you got to look at it. Is they loved these guys so much that they were willing to take them ahead of where your boards were. They wanted to get them before somebody else did. So they didn't see. I mean, as you listen to Ryan Pohl's press conference, he wanted one of the defensive tackles. Oh, there goes Caleb Proctor to the Cardinals. We might have a run on defensive tackles here going. This is going to be interesting to see what happens, man. If Corleone's gone now, that's kind of my last attempt at hope for a defensive tackle. The edges, there's lots of them. Defensive tackle, there's not as many. There goes Caleb Proctor. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. See, I'm not as big a fan of Grayson Halton. He's got short arms. He's not quite as athletic. He's not going to do what we need for a Dennis Allen defense by keeping the linebackers clean. So I'm not in on the Grayson Halton thing. I know a lot of fans are. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why the Grayson Halton thing has become a thing amongst Bears fans, but that's not – I don't see that one. Oh, this could get interesting real fast. Caleb Proctor, athletic. I liked Caleb Proctor for that reason. He could have gap integrity. Daryl Jackson gone. This is going to get interesting fast. I don't know if defensive tackle is still deep. We're looking at late prospects now. Ryan Poles has a humiliation kink. So as he was talking yesterday, he mentions that the board just didn't fall the way they wanted to, and they didn't want to trade up and waste draft capital. They didn't feel like this was a draft worth giving draft capital up to come up. They did not want to do that. So Corleone's more athletic than Billing, but he has good gap integrity. That's the thing I like about him. He's going to keep your linebackers clean. So it's not just about how fast they are, it's how well they play in a system that keeps linebackers clean too. Devin Eastern's someone I haven't looked a ton into. What do you got on Devin Eastern? That's a name I keep seeing pop up. But is Dennis Allen even in the war room? Like, that's the thing I posted on Twitter yesterday was, is Dennis Allen just gone? Did he take a vacation? Is he also in therapy? Is he taking the weekend off to go to therapy just like Vrabel is? So Caleb Proctor's off the board. We got the Chargers on the clock now. I made that a little bigger so we can see it better. Sorry if that was small. Bobby Jamison Travis, too. Wanted Logan from the start. So let's go look at these defensive tackles. Let's look at the defensive tackle position again. Here's Halton. A lot of teams, I'm sure it's the short arms and just not the athleticism with him. Benny's a small guy. Corleone's big guy, not quite as quick, but he has really good gap integrity. Xavier Harris stands way too tall. Landon Robinson's tiny. Tim Keenan, I don't really like that fit either. He's a bigger guy, but power-based nose tackle excels in run defense with strength and leverage. His pass rush ability is limited. He must develop more. I don't think he dents the pocket when I was looking at tape. We're getting into testing my knowledge of remembering tape because I really expected us to take guys earlier. Cole Brevard is huge, but he's not going to dent the pocket, so I don't like that. Bryson Eason, bigger guy. I got to look at – we're going to have to go to the athletic here in a minute. Sky Gill Howard was injured. Nick Barrett's a decent option. Devin Eastern is the guy you guys are talking about. 6'6", 320. What do I remember on tape from him? I got to remember. I'm going to have to go look stuff up. I don't remember his tape at all, to be honest. Jordan Vanderberg, someone a couple of you guys were really high on. See, he lined up primarily in B gap. This would be a good fit schematically wise for the Bears. Going to be interesting. Going to be interesting to see how this thing plays out from here, especially with a run going on defensive tackles here to start the fourth round. So let's look at the defensive line again here. I mean, as we look at that, as fans, it's hard because of how poorly we did last year. They obviously think very high of Neville Gallimore. And Kentavious Street actually played really good the second half of last year for Atlanta. But none of these guys are like, oh, blow your socks off. These guys are going to dominate the league. Christian Wilkins, type of players. We just don't have that on the roster. I don't think you're going to find that at this point in the draft. So are you really drafting someone better than Neville Gallimore and Kentavious Street at this point in the draft? And that's the real question. So the Bears are clearly comfortable with what they picked up in free agency. But you're asking a lot to have Grady Jarrett have a resurgence year, Jervon Dexter to have the best year he's ever had, Neville Gallimore to come step up and play better than he's played. You're just asking for a lot out of these guys. Bro saying Street played good. We're cooked. Let me show you here. Let me before you get all upset. Let me go find his profile and then I'll switch it over. It's all relative. It's all relative. By player. Yeah, I'll switch it over so you guys can see what I'm doing while I do it. Remove. Stop sharing. Share screen. Let's go here. Right here. There we go. We'll pull him up. Kentavious Street. All right. So 2025 defense. So here he is last year. I don't know if it was injury or if he was on the practice squad, but either way, you see his season grades. He's just kind of been a low-level player for the entirety of his career. But you look into last year as he got called back. I think he was called up. And that first game played really well. Those grades are good. The last game against New Orleans, but he got some decent pressure in the limited snaps he got. One pressure every 15 plays on the defensive line is not bad. You got 2 sacks in that time frame. So it's not like he was horrible. I'm not saying he's like a game wrecker. I'm not trying to convince you, that this is Jeffrey Simmons. I'm not by any means trying to say this is our savior, but I'm saying this is the reason the Bears picked him up. He had a good second half of the season when he was called up by Atlanta last year, and he played well. Former 4th-round pick. So there's some signs of why the Bears would have picked him up. That's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to convince you that this guy he's going to be the savior of the Bears defensive line. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying there's a reason the Bears picked him up, and they're happy to go along with what they're at right now. There goes Fabici Nwiwu to the Texans. I missed let's look right here. Let's refresh. It's going a little quicker today as it's supposed to. So Brennan Thompson, wide receiver from Mississippi State, goes to the Chargers. And now Fabici Nwiwu goes to the Texans, interior guard. Good-sized guard, too. I get it. I like the joke. I like it, too. I'm just trying to share some things to give a little more positivity and excitement today. Yeah, I think we're going to land a decent edge, probably at 144 too, because there's so many good options. Unless Danny Dennis Sutton is still there at 129, I don't know how you can pass up on him any longer. I'm not as high on Overton, but at this point in the draft, that's a great shot to take. I mean, remember, LT Overton was a first-round prospect before last year, and then the measurables and the play just didn't look that good. I don't know. I wouldn't be shocked by this one either, because Keontae Scott, remember, he would be a perfect nickel. And Kyler Gordon hasn't always been healthy. You look at the depth chart, you see that bear right there below Kyler Gordon. That's a need still. So if Keontae Scott is our pick, I know some fans might be upset, but looking at needs, having a nickel there to possibly replace Kyler Gordon, compete with Kyler Gordon, fill in for Kyler Gordon if he gets hurt, that's not out of the realm of possibility. Who's spamming? I missed the spam. Let me know and I'll. Oh, Blue Ezekiel. He just wants to be heard. He wants to be heard. I don't know what the 4.25 speed means. Was he slow on his 40 time? Are the Bears tanking for Jeremiah Smith? No, the Bears will be a playoff team this year. I am very confident the Bears with Ben Johnson will be right in contention there. I don't know if we'll win the division this year, having a number one. We won the division, so we have a one schedule. We're going to have a tougher schedule, but I think we'll win 11-ish games again this year. I'm confident with the direction this team is heading. I think right now Josh Blackwell is the backup, but I can see Cam Lewis filling in a pinch for sure. I can see Cam Lewis being a nickel. Cam Lewis can play versatilely like that. So yeah, that's a good point, Wesley Downs. Good point there. Danny Dennis Sutton just went 127 just before us in the simulation. Any simulations you do right now are going to take all of these players they're just going to take all the top players. They're just going to go first, and that's not necessarily what teams are thinking. So your simulators right now are all going to be completely wrong. I mean, they're just going to be wrong. Yeah, Eli Heydrich is getting a lot of comps to McCaffrey. One of the things you notice with Landon Robinson, Eli Heydrich, these guys from the military, one recent team, I mean, you saw it last year with, who was the edge that was a late first round prospect range. One of the edges there was didn't end up going to like the day 3 because the military, they aren't really available for camp, and they don't get to be going to, they don't get a gel with the team. They're not on the off-season program as well. So what did I miss here? Okay. They're going to run the ball down our throat, and what are we going to do? We're going to have to improve. That's the only option we got. Only option we got. All right, let's refresh it. All right, so nothing new yet. Niners are on the clock. Then we got the Broncos, Chiefs, Bengals coming up. Broncos again after that. Will the Bears trade up for one of these defensive tackles that are getting closer to the spot right here? Will they hold pat? I would expect them to hold pat. In fact, I can see them trading back again with 144 to get some more value. Something Ryan Poles does over and over again. He trades once, trades again, uses the same pick over and over to trade multiple times. Yeah. What are we going to do? We're going to have to outscore them. So the biggest thing with the whole run thing, the reason our linebackers got so much quicker, the reason we focused on getting quick linebackers is that's how they plan to stop the run, is in this type of system that Dennis Allen runs. It's more about gap integrity so that the linebackers can read cleanly and hit those holes hard by being quick and reactive. So, yeah, we need to improve. We need to have some more competition on the defensive line. Anybody we pick right now is probably not going to start over Gervon Dexter. You're really going to have to hope for some things out of Gervon Dexter. He and Grady Jarrett, Neville Gallimore, Kentavious Street, but we need one more guy to come in there and compete. And there's some options here. There's some options. No, I don't think there's any shot of Dennis Allen being – look what he did last year, getting the most that he did out of all of our injured secondary and how well they performed. I mean, we had a Pro Bowler that was that was out of nowhere. Yeah, it is flawed if you don't keep them clean with the defensive tackles. I agree. And Neville Gallimore is a cleaner defensive tackle than Andrew Billings. We improved there, but we need to, I agree. I'm not saying we don't need to improve. We need to improve more for sure. Yeah, Rashad Benny is just a little bit small. I'm not down on him. I don't see him as a game wrecker, but he does have good gap integrity too. What's his, let me go to that screen. What's his size? Rashad Benny, 6'4", 305. Not as small as I thought. I thought he was smaller. See, lined up mostly in the B gap. It could be a good option for us. I'd have to go review his tape. I didn't do a ton of tape on Rashad Benny. It's not a terrible option, actually. I don't care what Dexter wants. He wants a big contract. He better step up and play like Jalen Carter. Hold. So there goes Grayson Halton right there. He goes to the Niners. Grayson Halton's off the board. Caden Curry is still available. All the defensive ends are still available. We're having teams go on a defensive tackle run right now. That's what the Bears need too. So this is going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. I've got the defensive tackles over to the right here. It's going to be interesting to see who's available at 129. The Niners just took Grayson Halton. Let's refresh it so that pops up. Go to latest. Go to the latest. There we go. And Jonah Coleman's off the board. One of my favorite running backs from this class. Jonah Coleman is now a Denver Bronco. So Grayson Halton goes there. So here's the run on defensive tackles so far. You had Jermod McCoy be the first pick of this round. You have Jude Bowery. Now, Daryl Jackson Jr., who I liked. Caleb Proctor's gone. Brennan Thompson goes. Fabici Nuwawu goes. Grayson Halton. And now Jonah Coleman is gone. So we're exactly 20 picks away from the Bears. And there is a run on defensive tackles for sure this round. That is happening right now. You are having your run on defensive tackles. Ben Johnson's blueprint. Hit 30 points before the other team. Yeah. Dennis Allen's going to have to pull some magic this year. He's going to have to get the most out of his guys. And this year, we got to get some help out of that line. Need a run on offense. Yeah. I missed the need to run on offense here so that the Bears can have some defensive guys available. Long snapper and kicker next 2 picks. Let's see who the Chiefs are picking. It's not done yet. International Fan of the Year is up there picking. Round 4, pick 109. Yeah, Adam Randall hasn't been picked. I don't think he will be for a while. I wouldn't be shocked if we wait till the 7th round. That's a good interior in gap running, but we need a bruiser for 3rd down goal line. Remember, the secondary is vastly improved this year. The secondary is phenomenally improved. All right, so they take Jaden Kennedy. They're going defensive back. I'm not hurt about that because I think those are just supplemental spots to fill in for us. We're not dying to get another defensive back. I'm high on Capehart. He's a straight, strong bully. He ran a 4.85 40. I haven't looked at his testing too much from the combine. I probably should. Monte Capehart, 6'5", 315, long experienced defensive tackle, best suited for a nose roll. His length is an asset, but he must be used. I like the length when stacking and rushing, limited twitch and slower block shedding. I don't like that. We need the quick block shedding. Can cap his ceiling, though he can contribute as a rotational run defender in 3-4. So I don't know. I have to go back and look at his tape. I really looked most hard in that round 1 through 4. So we're hitting range where I was hoping we'd supplement with possibly a 2nd defensive tackle. Looks like the Jets have traded up to get another player. So the Jets have traded up to 110 now. The Jets had a slew of picks. We'll see what they have in just a minute. They're a commercial. I like Nadeem Tucker. I think that there's a lot of. Let's look at the defensive edges again. There's a lot of edge options. There's less defensive tackle options. So the Bears showed more confidence in their edge group than their interior group yesterday. So I would expect interior to be what we focus on first. But this edge group, it's pretty still solid. Joshua Joseph, Danny Dennis Sutton, LT Overton, even Anthony Lucas, Mikael Kamara, Tyreek Sapp, Mason Riger, Nadeem Tucker, Max Lewin, Caden Curry. We're getting, for rotational guy, defensive end 4, defensive end 5. I mean, any of those guys, I'm actually comfortable with any of them filling that role of your defensive end 4. Your rotational guy who plays special teams, who you want to develop, who's going to come in very limited snaps. Like, I'm really good. I mean, this is your Joe Troyan Shrainka from last year. That's what you're looking at here. I'm good with that. I'm good with all these guys. So I wouldn't want to get much past that, but one of those guys will be available at 144 for sure. This is more what I'm worried about getting at 129, and I really hope the Bears go this direction at 129. Can we trade our 7th for a 6th? I want to see some action from the war room, some life from the war room. Jets took a quarterback. Let's refresh it and find out who they took. Go to latest. Cade Klubnik. That's one of the ones the Bears were looking at for a late 7th rounder type of guy. You got the Texas Tech kid that the Bears were looking at for a possibly undrafted free agent. And who was the small school kid? Let's go look at quarterbacks. Taylor Green is the athletic freak. Luke Altmaier. Where is he? Bayron Morton is the one we were looking at for an undrafted free agent. Who's the other kid, though? Small school. I don't even see him on here. So the Bears were looking at a couple. You'll probably see one of them brought in as a undrafted free agent would be my guess. I don't think the Bears will draft one. But we'll have a 4th one come in for camp. You always have 4 for camp. So I'd be shocked if we don't. Let's get off of that. So Cade Klubnik is off the board. We're good with that. And the Broncos are back on the clock again, followed by the Cowboys and then the Colts. Good point, Chi-Town. What'd Chi-Town say? Where are we at? What'd I miss? What'd I miss? Did Thieneman falling to us hurt us drafting defensive line? Yes. Yes, it did. It did. But, I mean, the Bears showed a lot of interest in Caden McDonald. But the reality is, Dylan Thieneman at 25 was far more valuable. I mean, Dylan Thieneman, guys, he's getting comped to like Hall of Famers. Dylan Thieneman has had several comps with, let's see. Let me just pull back up here. Kyle Hamilton from the Ravens, Harrison Smith from the Vikings, Ed Reed, Troy Polamalu. That's who you're getting comps from Dylan Thieneman. So you take a more guaranteed blue chip player like that, then, you know, the Bears liked Caden McDonald, but he wasn't as valuable at 25. It is what it is. You're taking the best player you possibly can to have a Hall of Fame type of player on your roster. I'd rather take that for sure. Yeah, fumbling's something you can fix, though. You can't fix traits. Like, you can't fix, like, players' athleticism. And, I mean, you can try to improve it, but they're the way they play ball, but you can fix fumbling. I don't know if the Bears are going to go running back as early as we thought, though, because Xavier Thomas has played running back, and he's very much a Jahmyr Gibbs type of player. So he could be that 6th. And we could carry the 5 running backs we have him be a hybrid 6th, and fill in wide receiver as well. Cage Casey is going to Denver, you guys are saying. Cage Casey was a tackle. I watched him a lot. I live in Mountain West area. There goes Cage Casey. He was a tackle in college, but he projects as a guard at the next level. Cage Casey was a big reason Ashton Genty looked so good against Mountain West competition. All right, so we got the Cowboys followed by the Colts, followed by the Cowboys. So a couple picks in a row here by the Cowboys and Colts. Yeah, Nick Barrett could be a fun pick. Anybody right here, I'm not going to complain about. At this point, honestly, I just want the position filled with someone that can come in and compete. I want a defensive tackle to compete with those guys. I want a defensive end to be our defensive end 4. Honestly, we're probably going to get more out of the defensive end 4 here. But the defensive tackle is probably needed more to bring in competition and see if we can solidify the run defense, gap integrity, denting the pocket. Those are the 3 things I want from our defensive tackle. Excuse me. Let's start rolling these picks. We're in the 4th round, baby. Let's do this. Let's roll these quicker. I like the Jonah Coleman pick. How is he going to fit with Denver? He'd fit better with the Bears. So Denver picked a couple in a row there. Jonah Coleman. Couple teams have a lot of picks here at the top of this round. Cage Casey. Let's see if the Cowboys have picked. Let's refresh it. They have not yet. Cowgirls. Dallas was voted the most hated fan base, followed by the Packers. Those two fan bases are the most hated fan bases there are. Yeah, that's a good point. The Important Truth says, regardless of our opinions of round 2 and 3, all those players will be influential next year and possibly this year. I hope we get some good defensive players. So those who are just tuning in now, I'm going to do this real quick. I won't spend a lot of time on it. The Bearheads are spots that we'll fill the 90-man roster with before we're all said and done. You look at the bottom right, 72 players right now on the 91-man roster. 91 because the Bears get an international exemption for Torrey Taylor. You can only carry 53 into the season, but these spots will be filled. We'll probably have one more running back, one more quarterback. But when they're low down like this, they're not as important. So another 3 offensive linemen, not necessarily left tackle, center, or right tackle, but 3 more offensive line will most likely be added. You look at the wide receivers. Wide receivers still a valuable position that we could add a 7th rounder here with. You could add, we'll definitely add some undrafted free agents. We always do with wide receivers. No more tight ends. Look at the defensive tackle. That's probably our most pressing need. Then defensive end is still pressing for defensive end 4, especially with Dio out to start the season. This secondary room still needs some depth to compete. But you see the same thing with that in undrafted free agency as well. We pick up a lot of undrafted free agency. That top line there, that is a stacked room. Dylan Thieneman, Kobe Bryant, Jalen Johnson, Tyreek Stevenson, Kyler Gordon, Zay Frazier, Terrell Smith, Elijah Hicks, Cam Lewis. That's stacked. Below that, even Jalen Jones is solid. Josh Blackwell, extremely valuable on special teams. Drew Shelton is the tackle. Comes off the board for Dallas with pick 110. Sorry, 112. And then last but not least, you got your linebacker core here, which is pretty solid. I don't see us I mean, you could potentially, because this is such a stacked group, and this is a draft group, and this is where there's value in linebackers in the 4th, 5th round. You see a lot of value every year, even undrafted free agency. So that's kind of what we're going to fill the roster with the rest of the way, is those positions. Remember, everyone was saying it's Dennis Allen's draft this year. I don't know if Dennis Allen was even there. I don't think he even showed up. Maybe he was so upset he wasn't getting his draft that he said, I'm going to stay home. All right, so Drew Shelton's gone to the Cowboys. So far, this is kind of helping us get to our defensive tackles later in this draft. You can see we're going to go through quite a few more. Colts, Cowboys, Ravens, Bucks, Texans, Lions. We'll hate watch this section here. Lions, Panthers, Packers, Steelers, Falcons, Chargers again, Jaguars. Then you got 2 picks in a row from the Bills. You got the Niners, Bengals, and then we'll be at 129. So we got a way to go. We got a little ways to go here, but it's going to come up fast. Hippocampus, hip hop anonymous. Bear down, Mikey. Thanks for coming in here, buddy. Always happy to see Mikey in the draft chat. 4.39 speed. Let's get that long snapper with 4.39 speed. Cole Kmet extended. He's our backup long snapper. Freaking Patriots trading up to get Gabe Jacas. Yeah, I think that was a target there for sure. Richard Colby. Mikey is a cunning linguist. He uses his words properly. I think that's exactly what you were trying to say. Yeah, there's some really good. That's not the one I was trying to highlight. Kyle Lewis. Kyle Lewis would be a fun addition to the linebacker room. And he's quick, lightning quick. So that would be fun. Let's look at the linebackers. There's still some really good linebackers. Kyle Lewis, Deontay Lawson, Bryce Boetcher. I thought he was drafted. Taring York, Caleb Elarms Orr. All those are really good linebacker options. Red Murdoch later. Jack Kelly tested off the charts at the combine. Harold Perkins has tons of upside potential, but a really low floor. Eric Gentry. I mean, there's some really decent linebackers here later on. All right, let's refresh this sucker. No new news here from the Colts. No new news. Couple texts here. I think we're all just eager to get to 129 and 144. Be nice to have a couple in a row there. Yeah, Keontae Scott being there is still kind of crazy. I wouldn't be upset one bit if Keontae Scott is the pick we take. The Bears met with him both at the Combine and top 30. Sometimes that's to weed some things out, though. Maybe they didn't like what they saw. And it's obviously not the highest position of need for us. But filling in right there as a backup behind Kyler Gordon would be phenomenal. Definitely not the high need for us. You'd piss off some Bear fans if we did that. Here's the Colts selection from Germany. See what they say. Oh, Jalen Farmer, the guard from Kentucky. We like this run on offense going on. That's going to leave some defense there for us. The Colts have done a good job of developing offensive linemen. They've got some starters that are from the 4th, 5th round. All right, let's get this thing rolling. Come on, NFL. Let's get to the Bears. The Bears. They still don't have Jalen Farmer up there. Absolutely could go cornerback for sure, Mikey. Anything could happen here at 129. I think you really have to address the defensive tackle position at this point. We're running out of options, but I mean they could do anything. Here's the Cowboys pick. There's a reason you're the most hated fan base. But we got a couple here. So Devin Moore is who they went with, cornerback out of Florida. And then you have already picked Elijah Surratt, wide receiver from Indiana. Bucks are on the clock at 116. I mean, if they take any of these players, I don't think anybody should be upset. Any of these players in this range right here, obviously highly touted prospects. Keith Abney doesn't make any sense why he's dropping so far. Let's see if there's anything in the notes. Lack of length and top-tier athleticism may limit his zone schemes. Might be the only reason why, but I mean, his production's solid, very solid. No touchdowns allowed this last year, 2 interceptions, passer rating against a 46.1. Woo! Sign me up. Sign me up. I won't complain. I mean, if we take Keontae Scott, I won't complain. Skylar Bell doesn't really, not a big need. Bryce Lance, I won't complain. Freaking 6'3", 209. I don't know how he'd fit with Rome, but Joshua Joseph, Danny Dennis Sutton, Mike Washington. None of these guys are guys I'd complain over. We don't need Connor Lew at all. Kyle Lewis, Kamari Ramsey. I just we're in a good range. We just need to get there. Need to get there. About 14 picks away. It's coming. It's rolling. Oh, there goes Keontae Scott to the Bucks. Not that I was banking on that anyways, but a good player. I like Keontae Scott. So the Bucks have taken Keontae Scott. That's good. The more defensive players, or the more players that positions we don't need that come off the board, it's good for the Bears. Yeah, Danny Dennis Sutton has a knee issue, but from my understanding, that's resolved. Now, maybe it's deeper when you get into the medicals, and that's a reason. Hecht was never the number one center in this draft, but Bears fans fell in love with the idea because he fits wide zone scheme and because the Bears met with him. Bears are just doing their due diligence. We didn't even know that they met with Logan Jones on a top 30 visit. Logan Jones revealed that. Yeah, I came to Hallis Hall. I had a top 30 visit. If we heard about that, I promise the narrative would have been, oh, we got to take Logan Jones, because Logan Jones and Jake Slaughter were the 1 and 2 centers consensus in this draft. It's just Bears fans fell in love with Sam Hecht because we knew we met with him. If fans knew that we met with Logan Jones at Hallis Hall, if we knew that we did the combine and the top 30 visit with him, which we found out after the fact, then fans, we just don't hear about every time a Bears meet with a player. But if we had heard that, they would have fallen in love with Logan Jones earlier. Logan Jones comp by several analysts was Tyler Linderbaum. That shows you, same as last year, the number one guy goes off the board. It's not always seen as the number one clear guy. Bucks have had a decent draft, haven't they? Let's go look at the Bucks. Buccaneers. Reuben Bain, steal. Josiah Trotter, right in that range. Ted Hurst, good pick. Keontae Scott, that's a good pick. Who I'm impressed with, Browns have had a great draft. Spencer Fano, who was, potentially going higher. Casey Concepcion, Denzel Boston, Emmanuel McNeil Warren, Austin Barber. That's a solid draft. The Jets have picked like crazy. Jets have gotten David Bailey, Kenyon Sadiq, Kamar Cooper, D'Angelo Pons, Daryl Jackson Jr., Cade Klubnik. Let's look at our Bears. The Bears. Dylan Thieneman, baby. Logan Jones. I know a lot of fans are upset by that. I don't look at this one on that. I knew we were going to take center in this range. I mentioned probably taking it at 60, but Sam Roosh, see, they had him as overall ranked 87, so taking him at 69 is not crazy if you love the player. Xavier Thomas is the one that we were all questioning, but hey, he got his speed. Now we got those two coming up. So Buccaneers took Keontae Scott, and we are 12 picks away from the Bears picks. Yeah, I like Logan Jones a lot. I mocked him several times, if you guys remember. I liked Logan Jones a ton. He's not small. He's right in range for a center. Let's go back to the Bears. Actually, he's big for a center. 290 to 310 is your range for a center. That's good center size. And he moves quick. Like, if you watch his tape, he moves fast. He's really good in space, and we need that for the wide zone scheme. I liked his interview yesterday. I like everything about Logan Jones. I'm a big fan of that pick. I was one of the ones that was not down on that pick. And remember, that run, go look at right here. Let's go look right here. Logan Jones, the center started getting picked right after that. So Logan Jones, and then right after that, within a couple, Jake Slaughter went at 63 after we picked at 57. So, I mean, if they liked Logan Jones the most, you got to realize that we took the first center. So we took the guy that we liked. There's no questioning. Well, did the Bears like Jake Slaughter more because Chargers took Slaughter first and then we took Logan Jones second? No, we know we took the guy that we wanted. That's the guy that we wanted very most. So we know that we got the guy that we wanted. I like that. For some reason, it just makes me feel better that the Bears picked the guy. Same with tight end. We took him too early. Oh, well, they liked him, so they took him. Timu, Tyreek Hill player. Yeah, very, very similar, just not quite the range. Tyreek Hill has a phenomenal range of catch radius. Like, he can go grab stuff. Xavier Thomas. I keep saying Jones. I don't know why Xavier Jones is in my head. I even had it on the tracker earlier. I apologize for that, guys. Xavier Thomas Lightning quick speed, fast. Remember the Packers like bragging about getting Matthew Golden last year with his 4.29 speed. Xavier Thomas 4.28 speed, but his catch radius is small. So Caleb is going to have to work with. They're going to have to get zoned in. It's got to be tight bullets. It's going to have to be right on his chest. Doesn't drop a lot, but he also doesn't have long arms and he doesn't have the radius. So he's going to be a weapon. It's going to be fun to see. I think you're going to see a lot of jet sweeps. I think you're going to see a lot of out of the backfield. Him lined up at a running back type of role, like they were trying to use DJ Moore last year a little bit. He's played running back. He's even gone in gap, so they can design. Ben Johnson has said he openly likes to have players or schemes where they can design things where it looks like something and they do something completely different. They can line him up with his 4.28 speed in the backfield, make it look like they're going to do a jet sweep and do a cutback right up the middle with a hole with our offensive line, doing some cut blocks and have him go for 20 yards right up the gut because he's a good size. I shouldn't say he's big. He's a good sized running back style as well. He's played some running backs. So Timu Tyreek is pretty funny. Ben couldn't have drafted him if he sucked. Yeah. He liked him. He liked him a lot. So it'll be fun to see how they use him. Yeah, I was watching. Gab Gabriel said that his friend from the Senior Bowl said that we got to steal. So he was more quoting his friend from the Senior Bowl talking about Xavier Thomas being a steal in this draft. So obviously the Bears felt the same way. They took him way early according to what your big board says. So they liked him, and that's all that matters. Wide receiver is something I saw us filling in the 4th round, type of range. But hey, we did it, and we're done. Excuse me. Let's hope one of these high players matches up with best player available for the Bears, and we steal one of these guys. Really, really want to see that defensive line fixed. But remember, right now you're picking a guy that's no guarantee to beat out even a Contavious Street. You're not beating anybody out. You're coming in to compete at camp, and there's no guarantee you're going to make the roster, which is a good position to be in. Well, when you had 57 and 60 back-to-back, it's more likely you take the guy you like at 57 and trade back 60. So if you guys were here live yesterday, I talked several times about that's probably being what happened, and then they ended up trading 60 away. You take the guy you liked at 57, and then you trade away 60, which they did. Looks like Corleone's off the board. Is that what we're hearing? No. Travis Burke, tackle from Memphis, is gone. I honestly did not think he would go nearly this high. I said he's a guy that probably won't go UDFA, but a guy we could potentially take in the 7th round. Woo. Hot stuff right there. And then Jimmy Rolder, linebacker from Michigan, goes to the Lions. Carl will love that. Carl's going to love that a lot. All right, we got the Panthers and then the Packers. Nothing is shocking me right now as far as players that are taking. Joshua Josephs is still available. All right, so Jimmy Rolder's off the board. Let me go without the headphones for a minute. I'm not listening to you. I'm talking to anyone. What are we doing here? Yeah, we had a lot of injuries last year. A lot of injuries. When you look at this defensive line, Grady Jarrett, Austin Booker, Dio Odangbo, even Shamar Turner. I mean, a lot of injuries last year out of our core guys. So that's going to be big coming back. Yeah, anybody right now is as long as we add some depth. Xavier Harris, though, he's going to struggle with the NFL. He stands up tall. He does not know how to get low. Yeah, the Bears didn't want to give up their draft capital. That's what they said in this draft. They didn't feel like it was worth it. I don't necessarily agree, but hey, they're in charge. Carl says, rolled her to the Lions. God is good. Meaning, oh, he's saying good night. Heartbroken. My bad. I'm not upset about that at all. Wesley Williams from Duke. Interesting. Maybe a special team selection there. I was not high on Wesley Williams at all. He didn't reach my big board. Performed well in the East-West Shrine Bowl, apparently. All right, we're 10 picks away. Packers are on the clock. Please screw this up, Packers. Please. Please screw it up. Packers have had a decent draft so far, to be honest. Look at the Packers. Brandon Siss, Chris McClellan. Probably an overreach there, too, but I like Chris McClellan as a developmental guy. He's showing the trade up with the Jaguars. See if the Packers have selected yet. Oh, F my life. F me. F. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me right now? Oh, this is why I'm saying, are you kidding me? Danny Dennis Sutton is a Green Bay Packer. I hate when our division continues to get better. F. Ah. Oh. I don't like that at all. I don't like that they just got Danny Dennis Sutton. That adds some good depth to them. Danny Dennis Sutton won't be your day one starter, but that's exactly what the Bears needed to. A rotational guy. And he's a good man. I don't know why fans are down on Danny Dennis Sutton. That's a good pick. We have a mole. Yeah, he's a bust now. He's a bust. Screw that guy. Screw that guy. Screw Danny Dennis Sutton. I think they just had other needs they wanted to take. I'll give it to the Packers on that one. That's a good one. All right, definitely want defensive tackle here next. We're getting closer, and we're within range to do that. Let's see what Mr. Beast, what Dane Brugler says about Rashawn Benny. I don't know why I was lower on Rashawn Benny. I don't remember what it was about Rashawn Benny that I. Let's see here. He's got him as his 12th defensive tackle. I'll pull it up here. Suffered a left knee injury in a car accident. All right, let's remove this from screen. We'll come back to that in a minute, guys. Let's look at Rashawn Benny here because I think there's a shot we could take him. All right, so Rashawn Benny, 4th, 5th round grade, which is right where we are. 6'3", 298. 2 brothers born and raised. Blah. We won't go over all this. 4-star recruit. A tad narrow but wide-hipped with outstanding arm length. That's good. Initial quickness forces blockers to be at their best. Powerful, uses his full extension to stack and find the football. Heavy rip swipe hands to soften the edges and motor through gaps. I like that a lot. Active handwork prevents blockers from winning his chest and anchoring down, can operate in tight spaces. Motor says cranked, found more of a voice as a senior, interacts well with teammates. NFL scout, the Senior Bowl helped him. Our D-line coach kept saying he couldn't wait to watch more of that Wolverine. Inconsistent anchor, that I don't like, moved by double teams. We can't have that when we're trying to fix the run. Pad level gets away from his contact. Average agility gets elongated with his lower body movement. Ball carriers can elude him at the line. Don't like that at all. Only one season as a full starter. So let's see the overall assessment here. Benny isn't yet the sum of his parts, but he has athletic twitch with the size and arm length to be disruptive at the pro level. He has the talent to see the field as a rookie, while an NFL staff coaches the rest out of him. I like this. I like that statement. Talking about how he has a motor. He's got some good hand-ripping moves. This could be a good pick for the Bears. Combine 298, Pro Day 305, so there's a little discrepancy in his size, but all that's right within that range. Caden Weegen goes to the Steelers, it looks like. Wow. It's a fun pick. Fun pick. So there's a little insight there on Rashawn Benny. See what happens next. Go back to the draft and we'll update this. We're getting close to the Bears. There's Caden Weegen at 121. Danny Dennis Sutton right before that to the Packers. We got the Falcons, Texans, Panthers, Bills, Niners, and Bengals before us. Getting closer, boys. Rashawn Benny, Dante Corleone, Tim Keenan. I'm okay with the Rashawn Benny pick after what we just saw. A lot of high potential. I like these players that you can develop at this range. This is a good range to develop some guys. Danny Dennis Sutton is gone. Joshua Josephs isn't really on my board at all. He's not going to play big enough. Too much twitch. He's going to give up too much in the run game. The defensive end group there's plenty to wait till 144, I believe. And it's really not as big a need as the defensive interior. You got still LT Overton, Mikhail Kamara, Tyreek Sapp, Mason Rager, Nadeem Tucker, Max Lewin, Caden Curry. Now, obviously, if the Bears love one of these guys, if they love Mikhail Kamara, they're going to take him right here. You take the player you're in love with. So if you see him being a guy that you can rotate in and have an impact on this year, take edge before interior. It's just interior is a little bit more of a need for us to solidify that position. But right now, you're taking the best. I mean, heck, if you think Keith Abney is the best player, then you're going to take him right now. If you think Mike Washington's the best player, you'll take him right now. So the whole board is open right now. The Bears could do a slew of things. Ooh, the Bears have traded 124. All right, so we've swapped down from 144 to 166. Here's what Dan's Boda has said. I appreciate you bringing this up. It looks like the Bears are almost up. Let's look. So we've traded up to 124 with 129 is what we're being told here. Mike Washington went to the Raiders. So that's done. Wade Woodez goes to, I don't even know who that is. Honestly, I have no idea who Wade Woodez is. I did not even scout him at all. I have no clue who that is. And now the Bears are on the clock, apparently, after trading. We've done some swaps, it sounds like. We've done some pick swaps. So Poles has traded up and traded back. So we've dropped 22 spots to come up 5 spots, which on Draft Tech, 129 to 124 is worth about 3 points. 144 to 166 is worth about 5 points. So we gave up a little bit to come up, and that's fine. If they got a guy they love and they don't want to wait, I would expect defensive line here. Wood arse. All right, let's refresh the sucker. See if it's in. I'm going off trust on you guys on this one. I haven't seen. Oh, we're at 125. So the swap is for 125, not 124. Swap's at 125. This is what we have explained to us here. We'll get the details of it later, but it could absolutely be a cornerback. Keith Apney right there could be the pick. And the Bears don't want to let whoever they. Here's the thing I like about this, though. When you're trading up, I love that the Bears have conviction. We want to get our guy. We're not waiting. We're coming up to get our guy. Come on. Let's update this sucker. Let's get this updated. Let me go check another. While this is waiting, let's check over here. PFSN tracker. Mike Washington gone. They've still got Houston on the clock, so they're behind even farther. PFSN is. I trust you guys. I don't think any of you guys, especially the longtime guys, I don't think you're going to be spreading stuff that ain't true. Yeah, PFSN is even farther behind. They're at pick 1. They're behind. All right, let's refresh this one more time. All right, so we have the Raiders taking Mike Washington, which is interesting. All right, so there it is. Now it's updated. 124. We're on the clock. Let's go. And if we look at 5th round, we're now at 166. So accurate reporting there. Thank you for sharing that with everyone. It is accurate. You've done a good job. Honestly, I'm good with anybody right here as long as they help bring competition and solidify. Whoever the Bears traded up for, they've got conviction for. So I'm good. Whatever. Let's get this. Let's get the pick. All right, we're still waiting. Why as a fan does my heart start pounding? Why do I get excited? Why do I get anxiety? I want this player to work out. Mike Washington's a good pick. I like that for the Raiders. Good pick. Helps take some pressure off Ashton Genty with his slow thinking and not being able to play in the cold. Come on. Here we go. Nothing yet. Raiders is your new AFC team. See, I live in Vegas. The Raiders practice facility is literally right there. I just can't like the Raiders. I just can't do it. I just can't. It's just one of my teams that I just can't do it for. Pick is in. Let's see if it reports. Let's go. Here we go. Pick is in. Oh, it's not reported yet. What is it? What is it? Give me a big defensive lineman or give me an edge. Give me one of the two. Blue Ezekiel, we don't live far from each other then. If you're by the St. Rose Hospital, I'm closer to the M Resort. I'm down St. Rose from you, buddy. Pick is in for the Bears. Let's refresh this one more time. Here we go, guys. Here we go. They're announcing it right now. Let's go. Let's go. Here we go. Malik Muhammad from Texas, cornerback. Yeah, that's a good pick, though. Malik Muhammad is someone that we have we've mocked several times. He's going to bring some length. So I think Malik Muhammad is a phenomenal pick. I've scouted Malik Muhammad several times. I like that pick. I like that pick a lot. Obviously, the Bears did too because they traded up for him. Let's look at PFF's thing on him. I think he's going to be right in this range if he wasn't. Let's see. Cornerback. They don't have the pick in yet, but where's Malik Muhammad on here? They've got him listed something else. There he is right there. 105th overall for them. 6 foot 188, but he is lengthy. 2 interceptions this last year. NFL passer rating against only a 57.8. He'll bring some competition in there. I like it. I like that pick. It's a good pick. It's a good pick. That's a good deal. That's a good deal.
This is a good deal, Jeff. This is a good deal for both of us.
It's a good deal. It's a good deal, guys. We like that one. Let's go look at the Brugler article, what he has to say about Malik Muhammad. See if we can find it real quick here. Now we got a little extra time before our next pick because we traded down. So Dane Brugler has him as a 3rd round grade, and he has him as the 11th best cornerback overall in this draft. I'm going to get there and then I'll pop it up. All right, let's pull this sucker up so you guys can see him. Let's remove this one. Share screen. Boost. I like that we took players that were highly profiled. All right, Malik Muhammad from Texas, 3rd-year junior. September birthday, 21 years old, 6 foot 182, 3rd round grade, 87th overall prospect, according to Dane Brugler. 3rd oldest of 9 children in his family. Grew up in DeSoto, Texas with his parents. He has several cousins who played college football. A.J. Green was cornerback at Oklahoma State. Jabbar Muhammad, Billy Watson, blah, 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 blah. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty details here. Quick 4.42 speed, definitely quick. Broad jump is off the charts. Vert's pretty good. 10-yard split's really good. So his strengths, above average height and length for position, quickly gets up to speed out of turns, plant and go quickness for quick redirects, smart deciphering routes from off coverage, which allows him to stay on top, not shy throwing his hams to jam receivers backwards at the line. Did a nice job minimizing coverage penalties, has springs in his calves to elevate and make plays on the ball. We know Dennis Allen likes that. We know Al Harris likes that. Triggers quickly as a run defender and looks to get busy. Hates to come off the field. Weaknesses, narrow, linear frame, which, you know, the Bears don't care about that. Look at last year with the guys that we had filling in with below average muscle mass, loses physical battles to bully receivers on perimeter. We're looking more for the length and the plucking the ball away ability. Outstanding stopwatch time, but he doesn't show up consistently on tape. Struggles to make up lost ground once receiver gains a step. Good hip mobility, but tends to get upright in his pedal. Can get back shouldered by quarterbacks anticipating his aggression. Willing but inconsistent tackling technique. Tries to chop down instead of wrapping. Has some special teams experience, but inconsistent blocking jam skills. Overall, let's just look at the black part here. Muhammad can be out physical at time, but he plays with good reaction quickness and route instincts, which helps him stay attached in man or zone. He projects as a starter with shades of Greg Newsome. Greg Newsome's a great player to be comped to. So Nashawn Wright was very similar, lengthy and not the most muscular, not the muscle mass. So it looks like Al Harris may have had a hand in this one as well. So there's your pick at 124. The Bears traded up to get him. And that I like the most because that shows that the Bears are convicted on the player. So I'm a fan. I'm a fan of that. I'm a fan of the Bears being convicted. Let's refresh this real quick. Looks like a couple have gone off the board. Caleb Elam's Orr now has gone at 126. That's not updated, but what they say right here about Malik Muhammad is decorated cornerback for one of the nation's best secondaries. His size and pedigree point to starting potential at the next level, particularly in zone-oriented scheme. He earned PFF grades of 78.5 in 2023, 71.7 in 24, and 70.8 in 2025. His lighter frame and limited disruptiveness remain concerns and may factor into evaluations despite the overall profile. There you go. There's the Bears pick at 124. All right, let's get back to the chat here. Solid cornerback. Been drafting for some other teams since 60, blah, blah, blah. Stoked on the pick. Skinny. Looks better than Lewis. They might get Christian Wilkins from the free agency pick. Guess we're not getting burned. I think Tyreek's on notice more than Jalen's on notice. But I don't necessarily think we re-signed Jalen Johnson at this point either. Can he rush the passer? I don't know if Malik Muhammad can't cover Packers. I don't know if that's true. Can he cover Christian Watson? What did they give up? We swapped from 144 to 166. Yeah, Rager, there's still a lot of edges and a lot of defensive tackles available. Not a lot of tackles, but there are some tackles. So the swap was 129 up to 124 for 144 back to 166. Just so you guys can see that. All right, let's update the little banner here. We're going to stop that. We're going to change it. We're going to go for 124 for Malik Muhammad, cornerback, and he is a pure outside corner. And now we're picking at 166 instead. We had an early 5th rounder. Now we have a late 5th rounder. Save, show that. Boom. Let's update this as quick, real quick. All right. Let's put Malik Muhammad in here, and then I'll bring it up on the screen. I like that there's going to be a competition there now. There is going to be some real competition at that position. Real competition for that. And I like that guys have to fight it out. Got people texting me, do you like this pick? I do like the pick. I do like that pick. All right, let's get rid of that. Try to do this as fast as I can. We'll pull up a poll here in a second and see if you guys like the pick. All right, let's save this one. Trying to do this as fast as I can. Okay, let me pull this up now. Niners take Carver Willis. Got a lot of chat going on. I appreciate you guys. We're drafting a high Raz Snog snapper at the 7th. Hey, we got what's his name? Luke Elkin, who was Torrey Taylor's teammate at Iowa. We have him as a long snapper now. All right, let's replace this one. Add image file. Here we go. I know it takes a hot minute there when I'm trying to get that done. Here's the updated defensive back group. You see Malik Muhammad right there. Below Zay Frazier. There's going to be some competition. There's going to be competition. Jalen Jones, Tyreek Stevenson, Zay Frazier, Terrell Smith, Jalen Jones, Malik Muhammad. I mean, you're done with your outside corners now, but there's going to be some competition there. There's going to be Terrell Smith, Zay Frazier, Malik Muhammad. Who's going to make the roster? Because you're typically only going to keep 4 guys total there for your outside corners. Jalen Johnson, you'd think definitely makes the team. Tyreek Stevenson definitely makes the team. Terrell Smith definitely makes the team. You would think Zay Frazier, Malik Muhammad. That will be interesting. That's going to be a fun camp competition right there. That'll be fun. Malik Muhammad's not your day one starter for sure. Like, that's not what I'm trying to insinuate here. We're not saying he's going to start, but he could definitely fill in a pinch, and he's going to be a developmental guy. Connor Liu goes to the Bengals. Before his injury, considered probably the top center in this draft class. But remember, 2 years ago, Parker Brailsford was considered the top center in this draft class as well. I don't know if running back's on the board anymore with what the Bears were looking at. With them taking Xavier Thomas, I think I really think we need an inside gap, really thumper. But I think you're looking probably at the end of the draft. Adam Randall's a great option for that, or into undrafted free agency. Why does Ryan Poles trust it? I don't know if he does trust him more, but obviously Al Harris has proven himself to do well with his defensive backs. So Hicks isn't gone. He's over there under free safety. Elijah Hicks is a free safety. Really a special teamer is what he is. What do you think about Blackwell? I like Josh Blackwell a lot. We're not getting rid of him this year. He's the best special teams player we have. I mean, he's top 3 special team player in the entire league each year. So Josh Blackwell's not going anywhere. He'll hold that 52nd, 53rd roster spot all year because he's so valuable at special teams. Absolute beast of a tackler. Really, really solid. Yeah, the secondary is looking better and better, man. You look at this secondary, I feel like it's coming together really well for the Bears. So here's the D-line, Mikey. The D-line was never as big a deal as fans were making it. We needed 2 spots, but that defensive tackle spot, I just don't think the guys have fallen to them the way they've wanted them to fall. So another edge, especially to start the year, as Dio's out. I think if you were following me yesterday, if you were on this channel, I said we probably won't draft edge until round 4. It's not that big, desperate need. It's a rotational guy that you develop, another Austin Booker type of guy. But I did think with some of those guys, Danny Dennis Sutton, I really thought we would go after him. The Packers ended up drafting him. There's a lot of options at edge, but this defensive tackle, we need someone in there. All these guys that are on this fringe range, there's no cap. It doesn't make a difference now for cap. They only count the top 51 against the salary cap. So as you're drafting these players now, they won't impact the salary cap anymore. Like, the salary cap is where the salary cap is. We freed up the space to do it. We'll have a little bit of buffer cap going into the season. Very, very little. Enough to pay our practice squad players. I don't see any big changes happening anymore. Yeah, if there's someone that we can sign for $3 million, we can free up we can free up the small salary cap amounts. There's no big deal about that. So what I would expect from here, guys, now there's 73 guys on the roster. After today is over with, there will be 77 on the roster. I would expect about 10 undrafted free agents right after the draft ends into the next couple days. The Bears will have their guys on, speed dial that they're wanting to hit up to be undrafted free agents. You know, that big defensive tackle from Washington might be one of those guys they pick in the 7th, or that they pick in undrafted free agency. About 10 of those, and then you got about 4 more roster spots you'll see in the next couple of weeks where they sign a league minimum guy that's trying to prove himself. A guy like Nashawn Wright, Nick McLeod, like we did last year. You'll pick up about 3 or 4 or 5 more of those guys on league minimum contracts. That won't affect the salary cap because they only count the top 51 salaries against the cap. So if we're adding guys on league minimum contracts, it will not affect the salary cap. We're going into 90-man camp. They only count those top 51 contracts against the cap so that you can carry 90 men, so you can narrow your team down. Then as you get through camp, when you cut it down to 53, that's when your salary cap has to be below the threshold at the end of 53-man camp. And you need to have a buffer to pay, you know, these special team guys. I shouldn't say practice squad. I apologize. Practice squad guys make $250,000 a year. That roughly is $20,000 a week, but $250,000 a year times 16 guys, that's $4 million. They have to carry that buffer through the season so they can afford to pay those guys. So that's what you need to know about the salary cap. We'll do a whole video as we get into the undrafted free agents. But from this point forward, you're drafting in the 4th round. These are $1 million contracts in the 4th round. They make no difference against the cap. So if we trade back, trade up, trade for an extra pick, it doesn't matter because it cancels out another contract that counts against the 51 man. I don't know if that's making sense, but I hope I explained that well enough. How do we feel about the tight end we took? I was busy yesterday. I didn't watch Adam. I was shocked by the pick because I thought it would be a 5th, 6th, 7th round where we filled that tight end 3 because you can find a blocking tight end. But Ben Johnson has clearly showed, Ryan Poles has showed that they have a high priority on making sure that 13 personnel is available. They were disappointed last year by Durham Smythe. He was one of the worst graded in the entire league. They picked him up to be a blocking tight end, and he ended up being one of the worst tight ends in the entire league. So he did not come through for us. He did mention in the press conference that if Cole Kmet or Colston Loveland ever got injured, we don't have to change our scheme up because we can have someone slot right in. That's important to not have to change the entire offense because one of your main players went down. So that's a good thing. About $20 million. It goes up about 15 to 20 million every year. The salary cap this next year should be around 318. Right now it's at 302. So it'll go up about 6. It's estimated to be about 3. So it's not a huge jump, but there will be some adjustments that can be made. Next year is going to be a year where I can see. I've been very realistic and I've been very right. I'm not trying to be, I told you so right now. But this offseason, everyone said, we're going to go out, get big player. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. And I said, no, that's not what's going to happen. This is not the year for that. Next year, you'll see the Bears go out and sign a big contract. There will be a big contract. I'm talking like a guy that changes the entire face of a Jeffrey Simmons type of guy where you pay $30 million for a defensive tackle. That's next year. And you're also going to see Caleb Williams get extended next year. And both those things can happen because of what Ryan Poles has done to structure this thing properly. It's going to be a really fun. Next year is going to be funner to watch how they play it out. It's going to be fun to see how the whole thing shakes out for sure. Do you see any veterans who can come in after the draft at defensive tackle on a 1-year deal? I don't like the options for free agent defensive tackles. I'd rather see us take an undrafted free agent like the kid from Washington, who the Bears brought in for a top 30 visit. You trust Poles to. The thing is, guys, I think people had unrealistic expectations this year. And so they thought, we're going to go trade for Max Crosby. We're going to go get this big name. I don't think that was ever in the cards this year. Next year, it's going to be appealing for a player to want to come to Chicago. Now, we got to make the playoffs. We got to make it appealing. We got to go deep. It's going to be appealing for a big name to come to Chicago, and it's going to be fun to see who we end up getting. Yeah, so here's the defensive tackles. Now, I don't know if it's worth reporting we signed 3. It's not like we signed some studs, but Neville Gallimore and Kentavious Street are better than people are giving them credit for. They're upgrades from Andrew Billings and Chris Williams. That's the biggest thing to point out there. However, we still got Grady Jarrett and Jervon Dexter, and I need someone that I need someone that moves the needle a little bit more for me. I would like to see a little bit more. Christian Wilkins, can we go get him? I wouldn't be opposed. I don't care about the stories about kissing foreheads or whatever else. If he comes in and he plays football and he plays hard and he gets back to his form that he was at before, I'm all in favor. All right, let's see what's happened. We've gone on a little rant for a minute. Let's see where we're at with the draft. Ooh, we're getting down there. All right, so after the Bears took Malik Muhammad, we had Skylar Bell go off the board, Caleb Elarms-Orr, who I like, Carver Willis, Connor Liu, Will Lee, cornerback, Trey Moore. I actually like Trey Moore more than most people, and he actually can play a little bit on the edge as well with his size. Genesis Smith, and now the Saints are on the clock. So who do we got coming up? We got the Saints coming up next. We got the Niners. Then we got the Falcons, Colts, Saints again, Cowboys, Dolphins, Niners, Bengals. And then we get into round 5 where we get up to pick 166 eventually for the Bears. Will he trade out of it again? We'll find out. We'll find out. Needs, center took care of it. Safety took care of it. Haven't touched either of these. Interesting. Interesting. Interesting strategy. Bold strategy, Cotton. See if it pays out. Pays off. Yeah, Jarrett, I think we could have done better with that money for sure. Could have done better with that. Let's refresh. Refresh. Someone's saying right for the Saints. Jeremiah Wright, guard from Auburn to the Saints. All right. The Baltimore Ravens are picking right now. Little jabbing going back and forth between fan bases. Another tight end goes off the board. Matthew Hibner. Obviously, the league is coming around to valuing tight ends more, which means you're probably going to see a bump in pay coming. So it's nice that the Bears have 2 young tight ends. I don't think Cole Kmet's going anywhere anytime soon. I know there's a lot of fans that want to start that rumor. Ryan Poles shut that down last night, talking about how much he made an emphasis talking about how much he liked Cole Kmet, that he's not going anywhere. So let's pull this up real quick. Let's switch over to here real quick, show you guys team needs. So updated team needs for the Bears. Obviously, they say defensive tackle and edge. This is updated, so after we've made selections. So they're really saying we need a defensive tackle bad, which I agree. Nose tackle Andrew Billings signed with the Cardinals as a free agent. Javon Dexter's contract expires in 2027. Grady Jarrett is mainly a rotational player at this point in his career. The Bears could benefit greatly from adding an impact nose tackle on a cost-controlled rookie deal early in 2026 draft. They also need a new 3-tech talent. So we have multiple needs there. That's not happening with any of these guys. At edge, Montez Sweat is a solid piece for the Bears, and Austin Booker showed promise as a rotational pass rush. That said, the Bears still desperately need an impact player opposite of Sweat. Dio Dangbo free agent signing did not work out well, and as good as Sweat is, he's not the caliber of edge who can wreak havoc. They're also not taking into account their Shamar Turner, obviously. They're not giving enough credit there, but yeah, FGB. FGB. Here, let's pull this up. This isn't typical for my channel, but let's just add this real quick. We got to throw this in there because I hate the Packers. Real fast. Let's throw this. I didn't have this prepared. Let's just do it. Let's just do it. Let's do it. This isn't something Adam would normally do. Enjoy it.
Fuck Green Bay.
Yeah. Yeah, don't forget to gently caress that like button. Let's caress that like button, boys. 400 in the chat a moment ago. We're down to 370 now that the pick has been made. Appreciate you guys tuning in. It's fun. This is what we've been building up for all year. Next, we're going to have undrafted free agency. I won't be live for that. I'm just going to compile information on the players, get you a video out, give a quick breakdown. We'll do more analysis later. I'll give you stuff like this where I show where they fit in on the roster, show where they slot in. And then once we filled out the 90-man roster, we'll have a lot of fun with that too. So let's stop that screen. Let's bring back up the draft. Let's refresh. Falcons are picking right now. Kendall Daniels, linebacker from Oklahoma. Makes you wonder what teams aren't liking about Kyle Lewis. Maybe his short size. 6'1". I think they actually say he's shorter than that. I like Kyle Lewis a lot. I would love to see the Bears still take Kyle Lewis, see what they can get out of him. I would like that pick 10 times more than I'd like the Ruben Hippolyte pick. Tell you that much. Kind of pulling for Rashawn Benny after you guys brought him up. I'd be okay with Rashawn Benny. I don't know if it's going to be fine. I mean, it'll be fine. It's going to be fine. It's got to be fine. The injuries will be good to have them back. Coming back from injury. Remember, we took Shamar Turner last year in the second round, so we did invest in defensive line. He was just injured all year. I mean, he was injured to start the year. We can pull him up if you guys want. Let's do that for fun. We got a minute here. Add, share screen. Let's go over here and go. Let me pull it up first. It's not lined up. There we go. So here we were on Contavious Street. Let's look at Shamar Turner. Just so you guys can see. Shamar Turner, edge for the Bears. Didn't play until week 3 because of injury. Did not play well. And then they switched him at the bye week, which was week 5 here. If you look over here, you can see. Switched him from defensive tackle out to the outside to edge after that. He was just starting to come along. The grade doesn't look good here, but in the Washington game, he looked decent. He did look decent. New Orleans game didn't look good again, but he only had 10 snaps. And then Baltimore game, he got injured too early. So we don't even know what we have in Shamar Turner yet. Bryce Boetcher goes to the Colts. I like Bryce Boetcher. That's a good pick for them. So they picked up 2 linebackers now. C.J. Allen early and Bryce Boetcher now. So they're definitely – he got rid of Zaire Franklin. They got him out the door. Packers picked him up. Good move by the Colts. Franklin was on the way down. He's on the decline. Bad pickup by the Packers. So, but there's Shamar Turner for you. Little insight into him. Let's go back here to the draft. Go back to the draft. Share. Here's the draft. All right, we're back. We're all the way back, baby. We're getting closer. It's happening fast. All right, so there's Matthew Hibner. There goes Kendall Daniels, and they haven't shown it yet, but that's Bryce Boetcher right there for the Colts. Who did we draft last year that didn't play at all? Only Zay Frazier. Zay Frazier was injured all year, or he was out with NFI. With he did post later that he was all the way back and healthy. Then other than that, really Luke Newman got limited snaps. I mean, we're used to what you usually have is some players that you draft not even making the 90-man roster. That's typical. You're drafting prospects to come in and compete for spots. the Bears have been hitting lately. Kyle Monangai even made the roster. Luke Newman, 6th and 7th rounders, both played very well. Zay Frazier later. Ruben Hippolyte really didn't play as their 4th rounder. They tried him a couple times, but he just did not look good. I mean, he didn't look good at all. So kind of an overreach there. Hippolyte had something wrong with his eyes. He couldn't see the field. Heap hop. Heap hop anonymous. Dang you. You'll give him the easy ones. Ooh, we got a bit to go. We got a lot of Browns picks between our pick. Three picks in a row there for the Browns. 3 out of 4. Well, I don't think we're going to hit the high caliber of player for both defensive tackle and edge. Is that even listed on here? The defensive tackle from Washington. He's not even on their list. Let's go find him on the Beast article. I'll go find him real quick. The kid we brought in for a top 30 visit is who I'm talking about. And sometimes you use those top 30 visits for that reason, to really convince a guy that he wants to come here as an undrafted free agent. Sometimes that's what you do, but there's a lot of defensive tackles left to pick from. There's some good options still. I do think the Bears will pick one. Wouldn't hurt to bring in a couple. Spend more spots on defensive tackles than wide receivers this year. There's UR Bernard that was a high interest as the best of the rest. Where's this Washington kid? Don't even see him on here. I'm looking. I'll bring it up as soon as I got it. All right, so we're almost through the 4th round. Hold on. And I'm really disappointed we didn't get one of those 5 defensive tackles. Really am. Oh, they actually have him as a 6th, 7th round prospect on here on the Beast article. He was most places listed as a undrafted free agent, and PFF doesn't even have him on their board right here as we're looking. So PFF on their board doesn't even show the Washington kid, Ontario Williams. Let me share this real quick. Let me show here. Stop screen. Add, share screen. So here's the Beast article. So as we're talking, I'm sorry, Ontario Thompson, they've got him as the 24th ranked prospect behind guys we're looking at right now. So this could be the Bears pick. 4th-year senior, 6th, 7th round grade, 6'1.5", almost 6'2", 306 pounds, quicker for a defensive tackle for sure. This is someone we might not need to start getting serious about, even though he's not on PFF here. That doesn't always matter. Let's go look at him. Number 24. Scroll. 22nd, 23rd, 24th. Okay, so Ontario Thompson is a kid we brought in for a top 30 visit, 6'2", 306 pounds. Quick, I like that. 10-yard burst. Broad jump is solid. Short shuttle is actually really good. Grew up in Madison, Wisconsin, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to read over all that right now. Oh, they're not going over all the things. All right, let's just look at the summary here. They don't have the strengths and weaknesses. That's okay. Overall, Thompson needs to develop better consistency, but his upfield quickness, raw strength, and special teams impact, 3 blocked punts in college, are intriguing qualities that can be further developed. So a name to keep an eye on as we get to the next round here, as we get to 166. Even if he trades back again, I don't think if you love a kid, you're not going to wait till the 7th round. This could be a kid to keep your eye on here. This could be the Bears' pick. Interesting. We'll see what happens here. We'll know here soon, here in the next half hour. All right, go to latest. Let's refresh this. So Bryce Lane, the wide receiver, just went off the board to the Saints. And then if you look, you see LT Overton has now gone to the Cowboys. The Cowboys are drafting quite a few. They're not sold on any one of these edges, so they're drafting a couple of them. Caleb Downs. Then they picked up Malachi Lawrence, Jayshwan Barham, and now LT Overton. They've picked up 3 edges. They're definitely not re-signing Jadeveon Clowney. I like the idea of picking back up Jadeveon Clowney too. Interesting draft strategy by the Cowboys. They're just kind of overloading, and we'll see who we like the most, I guess. So Washington, what they were just saying that this Washington kid, Amari Thompson, got a quick burst. I need to watch more tape on him. Maybe we can go find something on Twitter. Sorry, not Amari Washington. What was his name? Ontario Thompson. Ontario Thompson. We brought him in for a top 30 visit. Ontario Thompson. Let's pull this up just while we're sitting here with a minute to kill. Let's look at this together. This is not pre-prepared, so I'm not even like overly ready to share this, but definitely drafting a running back next. We don't need a pass rusher. Who's the best putt player on the board? Let's call Flus and ask him. Oh, that's funny. Excuse me. Let's share this from Twitter. I'm not even prepared with this. We'll just see how it goes together. NFL draft stories, Zach Durfee and Ontario Thompson are dogs.
Cadillac and the defensive line and, getting stronger and getting developed in a manner that he was prepared to play at the next level.
Hey, don't Jesse Whitman!
I believe both those guys will have NFL careers. Durfee as an outside linebacker, edge rusher. If he was healthy throughout his career, I think we'd be talking about him as a day 1, day 2 pick. And then Ontario coming here in his final year has also brought a ton of experience, power, strength, and he was a very difficult guy for offenses to block.
Ontario Thompson! Durfee! Go!
Interesting. So Jacob put Ontario Thompson there. It's a scheme fit for the Bears. Top 30 visit tracker. We know that he came in for a top 30 visit. Not the right Thompson. Is this one of the blocks? Ontario Thompson recorded his first Hawkeye football punt block on Saturday. This is from 2023, so he transferred from Iowa to Washington. If he can move quick like that, might be my new favorite. 936 Raz score 6'1", 306. Quick. Broad jump is way big. Shuttle's fast. So that's all we get to see of him. There's not a lot more there to see about Ontario Thompson. Packers hosted him. Oh my gosh, if the Packers took him again before us as we start to like a player, I'm going to vomit. I'm going to up chuck right here in front of you guys. So there's Ontario Thompson. Maybe someone we need to start paying attention to as we get closer. See if the Cowboys have picked again yet. Or the Dolphins. Dolphins just took Kyle Lewis. Kyle Lewis is off the board. Not really a need for us anyways, guys. Honestly, look at what we did with this linebacker room. We've got Devin Bush, DeMarco Jackson, TJ Edwards, Jack Sanborn, Noah Sewell's coming along. I didn't expect us to take a linebacker early in this draft. Even now, if anything, a late round guy. I know we like Kyle Lewis, but it's not really a need right now. We need a defensive lineman. Need an edge or a defensive tackle. Look up DeMonte Caparts. I've already watched a lot of DeMonte. We can go there though if you guys want. We can go there. I do like DeMonte Capart. So we'll go here. We'll look up DeMonte Capart. Right there. 6'5", 313 pounds, strong hands, physical run stopper, 997 RAS score. Pushing through solid right there. You see, he holds the point of attack. I like that. Gap integrity. So this is what I'm talking about with gap integrity right here. These guys that can hold their point of attack, not get pushed out of the way. When you get pushed out of the way, you're essentially just creating open running lanes, and it makes it hard because the next guy can come through. Your offensive guard blocker, your lead running back blocker, your tight end can come through and seal off those linebackers. So it makes the whole thing harder. So when you seal off really well and you have gap integrity, makes it so that the linebackers can do their job and not get taken advantage of. Seal those for a 1-2 yard gain instead of a 5, 6, 7 yard gain. Good gap integrity right there. So yeah, I've liked DeMonte Capart. I got to remember what my weaknesses were on him. I don't think he's explosive. That's faster than Gervon Dexter off the line, though. We're looking at college tape, but yeah, DeMonte Capart right here would definitely be worth a pick here in the 3rd round or in the day 3 for sure. Zero hesitation. Go ahead, take him. Happy. Yeah, this would be a good pick. I would not be upset with that one bit. So that would be a decent one. All right, so the Niners, we'd almost be picking here soon. Not right now. Let's see what you guys are up to in the chat. I like Capart too. Bears don't need a defensive end. We do. We do need. Yeah, I think you're saying we need a defensive tackle more. I agree. Adam, thank you for what you do. We don't always agree, but it's still the best Bears coverage. I appreciate that. I'm not always right. I have my opinions, but Dominic Pavia, the kicker. Bears are going to draft Pavia at this point. Ephesians Brysock from Washington is going to the Niners. That's a good pick by them. What do I think of Logan Fano? I think he's fine. I don't think he's going to be anything special at the NFL level. We can see where they even have him rated here. For that USC logo or Utah logo. Logan Fano. He had a better year than I thought. 6'5", 260. He just doesn't have quick burst or acceleration. Its pass rush win rate is higher than I thought it was. He's someone that you can kick inside if you need to. 7.1%. Maybe I've overlooked him a little bit. His stats look better than I remember them being. But I remember watching his tape. I don't think he doesn't have good counters, and he's not very explosive. So I was never high on Logan Fano. He just seems like another guy, just another guy. But who knows? I mean, those stats look better than I remember them being. That pass rush win rate's nice. That's a nice thing. The Bears need help there. So maybe a player that I've overlooked a little bit when you bring him up. I appreciate you bringing him up. Maybe someone I've overlooked a little bit. I keep looking up, hoping Sofia Vergara will be announcing a pick. Nobody would focus if she was announcing. Yeah, there's rumors with everything. Cam Jordan could be a guy that we bring in. We'll see. Cam Jordan's one of the few guys that I'd be happy with after the draft. Like, I think he would definitely upgrade the position. I don't see us paying him a ton of money. Yeah, I agree. I think that's what all of us want at this point. We just want more guys on the defensive line that can compete. We want the competition to be there. I would expect some undrafted free agent there. But as we look, yeah, he's got connections to DA, but some people have also said Cam Jordan would rather retire than leave New Orleans. He's played in New Orleans his entire career. So I want a fast run stopper. That's why I like the top guys in this draft. Andrew Billings was terrible for this defense because he was slow and a fat run stuffer. We need a guy with gap integrity that's also quick. Like Lee Hunter, Kristen Miller, Caden McDonald. Those guys were all really fun for that idea. I don't know if we need a running back. Yeah, fast run stuffer. I like it. I like the fat run stuffer. All right, so Ephesian Price Stock, then Colby Young, and now we're into round 5. Oh my gosh, this guy is taking his 15 minutes for sure. For the Texans announcement, the International Fan of the Year from Mexico for the Texans. Oh my goodness. Have your moment, buddy. Have your moment. We're 25 picks away from the Bears pick. Seems like an eternity. His voice broke because he's having too much fun. Oh, there goes Kamari Ramsey, safety from USC. Okay, get off the stage, buddy. You had your moment. All right, so next up we'll have the Titans, Cardinals, Panthers, Chargers, Browns, Commanders, Browns. Good draft. Let's check out the Bengals real quick. TJ Parker was a steal. Cornerback David Ignobison, Jude Bowery, Skylar Bell, Caleb Elam's Orr. Who do the Titans take? Fernando Carmona, some more guards going off the board. Some position I don't think the Bears will take at all, so this is okay. Anybody know how long the picks are in the fifth round? I think it slows down here in the day 3. How long are the draft picks between in round 4, 5, 6, and 7? 4 minutes.
Teams have 5 minutes to make their picks in rounds.
Oh, 5 minutes, and then round 7 is 4. I'm not a big fan of Zane Durant either because when I'm looking at these big guys, I want someone that can be explosive like Zane Durant, but I also want someone that maintains gap integrity. And some of these guys just do not hold up their lanes as well. DeMonte Capehart is one that does. So let's go back and look at these. Rayshon Benny, I was probably overlooking a little bit. Dante Corleone, I like. DeMonte Capehart. I think the Bears will come away with the defense. It was one of those where they had him higher on their board. Like we're talking end of 3rd round range, where the 4th round is rolling along and they're like, holy crap, we can't believe he's still here. That player's a game changer. Let's trade up and get him. Will that happen again here in the 5th round for the Bears? Will there be a player there they weren't expecting to be there? It could happen. Hopefully, I'm hoping we address the defensive line here, though. That needs to happen. If nothing else for the fans. Diana Rossini is to announce the next Patriots pick. That's funny. My phone has a sexy voice. Hey, phone, say something sexy to me.
As a digital assistant, I can share some phrases that people find exciting. How about, I can't stop thinking about you today.
Ooh.
I have a feeling tonight is going to be amazing.
Wow.
Or I've been having the wildest thoughts about you all day.
Whoa.
I need you here now.
I need you here right now. I need you at the draft right now. Woo! All right, I'm a little flustered. Mac McManus. You missed it a minute ago. Is Shamar Turner more of a defensive end or a defensive tackle? I pulled up his PFF and I showed what we need to do is pull up the conversation. Let me see if I can find it. The conversation on that Ben Johnson had after he was injured, where they talked openly about how they wanted him to be able to have the rest of the season to see what they can do at defensive end. They really like him as a defensive end. So I'll be shocked if they don't use him this year as a defensive end. Let me go see if I can find that. Find that clip. Right here. Found it. So here's all right. Pause for a second. All right. Jeez. All right. So here's Ben Johnson in the press conference after Shamar Turner was injured. You're only getting audio. I hope you're getting audio. Let me just bring it up actually so you guys can have it. This is in my bookmarks. Don't judge me. Where are we at here? Come on. Let's get it together here, Adam. I know we're killing time, but let's get it together. Remove. All right. Share screen. Twitter. So here's Ben Johnson. This is something important fans need to take into context. Here's Ben Johnson talking about Shamar Turner.
I thought that when we made that transition to defensive end, it certainly coincided with our ability to stop the run at a higher clip. And so we thought he was part of the solution there for us. I think he looked somewhat natural to play that spot for a guy that hadn't done a ton of it. So we were really excited to see what this next half of the season was going to look like as he continued to develop in that role. So yeah, it's a shame that we're going to miss out on him. He has a physical presence and demeanor. I thought that when we made that transition to defensive end.
All right. Stop talking, Ben. So I do see him more as a defensive end than a defensive tackle. He was actually a defensive end. Let's pull it up from the good old PFFer so you guys can see that. Let's bring that up. Share screen. The old PFFer. Here's Shamar Turner this last year. You can see they don't even take these reds and yellows and greens into account. This right here between week 4 and 5 is when they transitioned him from defensive tackle to defensive end. But he was injured coming into that, and then he got injured after 30 snaps. It's not even enough time to evaluate. But you can see here those last 3 games, he exclusively played over tackle and outside. That is your edge position. So they moved him there for those last 3 games. He got injured, but go look at college here. Let's look at NCAA football for him. Got to go back to 24 when he played there. Look at the bottom section here. He played as an edge primarily that last year in 23 and played really well there. And then they moved him, played his best football in college at the edge position. This is the edge position for him. He played his best football at edge. Then they moved him inside in 24 just because Texas A&M was overloaded with talent at the edge position. Shamar, what's his name? Stewart, Cassius Howell. They just had guys that beat him out of edge. So they moved him inside to tackle, to defensive tackle. And that's why he was there his last year. And he didn't play as well at defensive tackle as he did at defensive end. He was a better defensive end in college than he was at defensive tackle. So he had to bulk up to do that. He went from like 280 to 300 to do that. I would expect when we get to camp, I would expect him to be a little lighter. I actually think he's going to lose a little bit of weight here and get back down to defensive end position again. Yeah, he played pretty equally defensive end and defensive tackle, but his best year came at defensive end. So that best year for him in 2023 came at end, but they were overloaded with defensive end talent, which is why they got kicked into defensive tackle. It was more out of they needed him on the field, but he wasn't the best defensive end on the team. So he gained some weight and there he was. So away we go. I think they'll use him at edge this year. That's why I've got him listed here on my little depth chart. That's why I've got him listed at edge. And I think the Bears view him the same way. Otherwise, you would have seen an edge taken by now. It would be a much higher priority if he wasn't an edge. So I think that's kind of a given at this point that he's an edge. Yeah, partially why I don't think the Bears need a defensive end. The only reason I want an edge a little bit more, you need 4 rotational guys. You got Sweat, Booker, Turner, and Odengbo. You're going to carry 5 anyways. Hardy is that special teams type of guy, but Odengbo's injured for the first part of this year. He's coming off that leg injury, so he won't be available till November, December. And you need a guy to develop anyways, and Odengbo can kick into defensive tackle if needed later. It'll be interesting. Interesting to see what the Bears end up doing on this one. All right, so let's remove that. Let's get back to the draft. Window that one. All right, there we go. Shamar Turner is healthy for week 1 from everything that we're hearing. What was his injury again? Shamar Turner injury. Torn ACL. Ooh, maybe he's not going to be ready. But I thought in the press conference, they just talked about how he's online to start. Anybody who has a better memory than me from what they were just talking about in the press conferences from Ryan Poles the last little bit, I'm positive they said he's on track to be ready for week 1. I'm positive they said that. Now I'm 80% positive. Now I'm not positive, but I'm 80% positive. I'm feeling confident. Yeah, he's supposed to make mandatory camp, but I think he's like supposed to be there on the sidelines, not participating. But for preseason, he should be there. Yeah, so I'm not positive. You guys are saying the same thing. I think we're on the same page. That's a quick recovery from the ACL from week 8 of last year. That's actually really solid for him. But Dio was the Achilles injury. That takes a full year. When did Dio Odengbo tear his Achilles? No, they never get Dio Odengbo's name right. I have to type it in. When did Dio Odengbo tear his Achilles? November 2nd, and that's a full year recovery. So Dio could be well out into like past midway through the season. I mean, we could not be seeing him till the end of the season. So that's why I think we need edge help. But it's not like your most desperate thing because you got Montez Sweat, Austin Booker, Shamar Turner, and then you just need some help after that too. Let's go, since we got a minute here, I'll refresh this, and then I want to go show you guys Austin Booker. So remember, Austin Booker came back from injury, but also there goes Sam Heck. Sam Heck goes to the Panthers. You got Reggie Virgil before that to the Cardinals. And Fernando Carmonas. We're caught up now, but there goes Sam Heck. But if you don't remember last year, Austin Booker was absolutely killing the offseason. Like he was, I think he led the league in sacks in the preseason. In the preseason, I know it's the preseason, doesn't mean everything. I get that, but it's a sign to come. And then he got injured, so it's a sign of things to come for him. So let me switch it over here. There we go. Okay, so here's Austin Booker. Let's go to preseason. Yeah, he had 3 sacks in the one game, 5 sacks in the second game, and they didn't even play him the third game. And then he was injured. Or did he get injured in that game? Either way, Austin Booker, he's freaking on pace and trending. And then you look at the actual regular season and postseason. Came back week 9. Looked a little good there, but he really started looking good after the Philly game. Couple of tackling issues, but I mean, look at this: 2 sacks, 1 sack, 1 sack, 0 sacks, 1 sack. You take it from that point on when he's really starting to get in his groove again. Austin Booker, and then he got the sack taken away from Green Bay because they called an illegal hit. I mean, he's gonna be a force, and I don't think fans are realizing yet, but he's. And if you look at this by position, I don't think a lot of fans realize this for some reason. I pointed out, but some people just don't listen. Let's go to the Bears. This shows you what the Bears think about Austin Booker. Custom, so we'll go weeks 9 through the end. And check this out. Snap totals. He outsnapped Montez Sweat when he came back. Both 11 games, he outsnapped him. That means the Bears are prioritizing Austin Booker. They see him as the future for the Bears. So I know we love Montez Sweat. I like Montez Sweat. I'm not trashing on him. But the Bears really do see Austin Booker as this Max Crosby type and prototype. Long arms, lengthy, quick, explosive, twitchy, good bend. Like they really view him as a guy that they can build around. So I'm high on Austin Booker. No, he's not Crosby yet, but neither was Max Crosby until Max Crosby became Max Crosby. And even if he doesn't become Max Crosby, say he's 3 pegs down from Max Crosby, phenomenal. So I'm high on Austin Booker. So just so you guys know, 3 days from now, 4 days from now, they're going to have this. Let's do this for those who didn't see it yesterday. Share screen. Probably shouldn't even pull this up until I have it ready to go. But right here, there's going to be on YouTube a little video about Austin Booker and his offseason. We'll go back and pause. It's up to where Max Crosby is. Max Crosby's 255. So add about 10 pounds, but you don't want to just, eat the burgers and put fat on. He wants to. It's going to be on April 29th on YouTube. They're going to have that video. Putting the work in. I like to see when guys are putting the work in. I saw guys criticizing this on Twitter today saying, bodybuilding's not the way to go. You're going to lose explosiveness. Holy freak. Like, can you criticize everything? Obviously, the Bears are involved when he does stuff like this, and they're going to be a part of accepting what he's doing. So releasing on YouTube 4/29 is when that's going to happen. I like Book. I am all in on hyping up Austin Booker. All in on that. All right, let's refresh this sucker. Parker Brailsford just went off the board to the Browns. Very undersized, lack of strength completely. He's going to get blown back. Nick Barrett, defensive tackle, just went to the Chargers. So we've lost out on another defensive tackle. Sam Hecht, we're caught up after that point. Getting closer. Getting closer. So that's the pick the Bears had, 144 after the trade down. All right, so now Parker Brailsford off the board, and the Commanders are picking right now. Yeah, so for a Super Bowl caliber team, I'd agree with this assessment, Christian Edwards. Montez Sweat is, I think he's way above average. He gets home, he gets pressure. But just like Chuck Henry is saying, edge doesn't mean squat if we don't fix the defensive tackles. I explained this yesterday. Let's say this is your pocket. You know, it starts like this, and then as it opens up, it bends, and you move back a little bit. If you don't dent the interior of the pocket, if you don't stop the quarterback from stepping up into the pocket, it's never going to mean anything, because there were so many times, I screenshotted it on Twitter last year, so many times when our edges would get home, when they would collapse the outside, but the inside, they'd be pushed back 2 or 3 yards and allowed Jordan Love. I remember watching Jordan Love step up into that pocket. Austin Booker, Montez Sweat, they did their job. They got to the quarterback, and then the quarterback just stepped into a pocket because the pocket wasn't collapsed. That's why we got to fix the defensive tackle position and really dent the inside of the pocket. Don't allow Jordan Love to step up into the pocket. When that happens, your defensive ends can then get home and sack the quarterback. It's not going to happen as much. I mean, Austin Booker and Montez Sweat could have way more sacks if we had a better defensive interior. Yep, exactly. A good defensive tackle will add at least 5 sacks to Sweat's total. I agree with that completely. What's the board looking at? Let's look at the board right now. All right, so refresh. Looks like Joshua Josephs just went to Washington. I'm fine with that. I don't think he was the right size for the Bears. But here's your big board right now. Keith Abney, Deion Burks, Chandler Rivers, Garrett Nussmeier, Rayshon Benny. You guys have got me to come around a little bit on that one. I like that pick. This doesn't show the kid from Washington, Ontario Thompson, I believe was his name. The kid the Bears bring in for a top 30 visit on Dane Brugler's big board. He had Ontario Thompson listed as the 24th defensive tackle as a 6th round grade. So someone to keep an eye on. We just went and looked at highlights at him a minute ago, and I think that's a pick worth taking for sure. You've got Zakee Wheatley, who Bears fans were high on. Dante Corleone would be a good pick. Anthony Lucas is not a bad pick. Deontay Lawson. I don't like Xavier Harris. Mikael Kamara is someone the Bears brought in for a top 30 visit. Tyreek Sapp. Let's just look at the defensive tackles here. Jordan Vanderberg. Sky Gill Howard. DeMonte Capehart. And edge, there's a lot more options still available. Mason Reiger, Nadeem Tucker, Max Lewin, Caden Curry. There's going to be some options here. There's going to be some options for sure. We're about 19, 18 picks away. After Booker knocked out Jordan Love, I was all in on him. Yeah. Welcome to the party, man. Yeah, the problem with the defensive tackle situation in this draft was not a good one. Unless you got one of those top 5. That's what I preached all offseason. Unless we got one of those top 5 guys, it was a little rough go. We can always come up with money to be able to sign a player. I don't think Poles wants to really extend those contracts and put ourselves in problem situations. I think we'd rather go into the season the way we are, which is why we signed so many guys the way we did. I see more of this draft taking someone or undrafted free. I don't see us really going out and getting someone in free. I see low-level free agents from this point on. There's nothing wrong with being an 8 to 10 sack guy, but you fix our defensive interior, and there were more opportunities. Sweat could have got more sacks. Also, the other side helps too, and Austin Booker's been doing that for him. I like the Saints Raiders trade. What happened with the Saints Raiders? Post it on here so we can see it. Wilkins may have kissed his career goodbye. That's very. He was also injured. We'll see if somebody signs him after the draft this year. It'll be interesting to see. I also won't be shocked if the Bears trade back from 166 here and pick up another extra pick. I won't be shocked one bit. Picks in for the Browns. I think the Seahawks already picked. We didn't get that one updated. It's not updated, but it should be. Let's see here. PFSN should have that then. Let's go over here. Live draft tracker. Yeah, Seahawks took Bo Stevens, and the Browns took Justin Jefferson, linebacker from Alabama. So now the Raiders are on the clock at 150. Sometimes they go back and forth here with who's more up to date. There's Bo Stevens. They'll have the linebacker here in a second. So coming up next, we got the Raiders, the Dolphins, the Browns, and then the Packers. Then the Packers.
Fuck Green Bay.
Austin Booker. Yeah, there's some good defensive tackle options here. Oh, really? Tyree Wilson to the Saints for this year's 5th. Interesting. Tyree Wilson has a lot of high upside potential. He just has not panned out at all. I was expecting to be done by now. We're only going through the next pick on this live session here. Yeah, Jalen Kilgore would be good value here. I think we really need, even though you're taking best player available, I think you really need to take a defensive lineman here. Like, you'd need to. If nothing else, just to make the fan base happy. Like, make us happy. Give us a defensive lineman, dang it. All right, so the Raiders have taken safety Dalton Johnson from Arizona. We're getting closer. We're about 15 away. With that, let's go here. Let's go here and let's do this. Welcome to Chicago, Malik. Yeah, he's going to be just fine. Let's find a longer one. So here's 57 seconds of Malik Muhammad. Hopefully this doesn't get me. I'm going to go fill up my water before we get closer to the Bears pick. I'm going to leave that small so I don't get flagged. I'm not going to put any sound on, but there's some highlights of Malik Muhammad. I will be right back. Patience, it's coming. Patience. That defensive tackle is coming. Nice. Enjoy the Cubs game. Are you in LA? You might be gone by now, but man, was that a fun game yesterday coming back from behind. I logged off of here and watched the end of that, and that was so much fun. Unfortunately, my Vegas Golden Knights lost their playoff game to Utah. Screw that. All right, let's get back to the draft. Move this off of here. Share screen. Hey, White Sox. I'm not opposed to the White Sox. I just grew up a Cubs fan. Die-hard Cubs fan my whole life. Grew up watching the Kerry Wood 20 strikeout game. WGN did a big favor for the Cubs. But hey, I'm not down on I'm not one of those that hates the White Sox because I love the Cubs. I want you guys to all enjoy your team too. Hold. Did the Packers just pick? Who'd the Packers pick? So it shows the Packers have picked, but I don't see their pick yet. Justin Jolly went to the Broncos. Zakee Wheatley went to the Panthers. Dalton Johnson went to the Raiders. Who's the Packers pick here? Who's going to be the Panthers or the Packers pick? So we don't know the Packers pick yet.
Fuck Green Bay.
Yeah. We don't know who the Packers picked yet. So they did not have Dylan Thieneman for a top 30 visit. They met with him at the Combine. They did meet with Caden McDonald at both the Combine and top 30. They met with Keontae Scott at both Combine and top 30. Now we've learned Logan Jones let us know that a month ago he was in for a top 30 visit with the Bears too. So we don't know everybody they've met with. Sorry, I had to eat a little piece of cheese. I was starving. My bet is we're going to take a defensive tackle here. Dante Corleone, this kid from Washington that we've been talking about, DeMonte Capehart, but I won't be shocked if we go edge either with Dio Odengbo out for the first half of the year. Won't be shocked one bit if it's Mikhail Kamara, who had a top 30 visit. Mikhail Kamara had a top 30 visit with the Bears, and he's the right size and the right twitch and the right speed for it. So I don't hate that one. He's not quite as tall as you'd like, but 262 pounds. Good pass rush win rate this year, so I don't dislike Mikhail Kamara. I'm okay with that one. Mason Reiger, Nadeem Tucker, Max Lewin. Max Lewin's a little under the radar. I like Max Lewin too. Huge year last year. Huge year last year. Run stop rate, not as good, but there's some good options here. The Bears are going to come into a good pick. All right. The Packers took Jager Burton. Oh, you guys were announcing that. Okay. Yeah, they got sloppy seconds. Good job, Packers, getting sloppy seconds. One thing you know is the Bears got the player they wanted for center. They took the first center off the board. Mason Riger is the one. Richard Craddock says he's the one. Jaeger bomb. Jaeger bust. He's a Jaeger bomb bust. At this, well, look how well the one did from the 5th round from before. So at this point, why take another one? Well, you had good success before, and this is a good defensive end class. Take another one. Well, he was starting last year, too. He outsnapped everybody when he came back. If you guys have been tuning in and out, or if you missed the part on Austin Booker, just rewind it till you find it. There's some good stuff on Austin Booker. There's reason to be very high on Austin Booker, guys. Like, we went over a lot of Austin Booker stuff. There's reason to be very high on Austin Booker. So DeMonte Capehart just went to Tampa, you guys are saying? Let's refresh this. Looks like the Colts are up, so we might not have it on here yet, but Jaden Duggar. So you guys are saying Tampa Bay just took DeMonte Capehart. So look at our defensive interior. DeMonte Capehart is now gone, according to you guys. That one does hurt a little bit. I think the Bears are in love with this kid from Washington. Ontario Thompson from Washington, 24th ranked overall. I think DeMonte Capehart was a good grade right there. It was a good one to take. That would have been a good pick for us. George Gums is going to the Colts. I think you saw that on your TV. I hadn't checked it out, but now they're on to the Lions. They need defensive end help, but I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan of George Gums. I know some of you guys were mentioning him in here. .6'4", 250 pounds. He just didn't move the needle for me. Good run stopper. Maybe they need that with the Colts. Let's refresh this thing again. Lions pick is in now, too. Things are moving a little faster. There's your DeMonte Capehart pick. Long, experienced defensive tackle, best suited for nose roll. See, you guys get me excited about someone, and then they go ahead and get taken ahead of us. Screw you guys for getting my hopes up. Will Booker get the sack record next year? You know what? I'm happy if Booker's a 10-sack guy who gets consistent pressure and collapses that side of the field. I'm good with that. Like, I don't need him to be a superstar. I just need him to be that next level of guy where we've got a solid top-tier starter. That's what I want. Keith Abney's going to the Lions. They're getting a steal if that's the case. Lack of length and top-tier athleticism, but a really productive year. They're behind a little bit. Let's see if it's a little quicker on PFSN right now. No, PFSN's just as far behind. I think teams are just picking quick right now, so you guys see that on the screen is pretty up-to-date. Emmett Johnson's falling down boards. It'll be interesting. So there's Keith Abney pick. George Gums before that. Miami's on the clock now. Then it's going to be Minnesota. Then it's going to be Tampa Bay, and we're in the 60s, 160s. So we're getting closer. ESPN's on point right now. Let me go check out ESPN's. I just don't like their layout, but it's fine. We'll switch over there. Nah, we're going to leave it here because it looks better, but they do have on the clock the Miami Dolphins. Keith Abney just went to the Lions. Next pick after the Dolphins is the Vikings. Yeah, but that's like saying we're okay with, mediocre. I think we're fine. The word is fine. But the biggest weakness on the Bears right now would still be the defensive line. That's still your biggest weakness. And you've listed a lot of players that aren't defensive tackles. I think if you're saying they're fine at edge, that's a little bit easier of an argument. Yeah, Xavier Harris stands up way too tall. American Mafia, appreciate that. If you haven't hit the like button, do that. Does help a little bit. Let's move this off screen. Bring this back up. All right, we're about 7 picks away. Let's update this. We're back up to date. The Dolphins took Michael Taff from Texas. I liked him as well as a safety. It's a later round option. So now the Vikings are up. You see how close we're getting. There's the Vikings, then the Buccaneers, then the Steelers, the Ravens, Vikings again, Jaguars, Titans, and then the Bears are up at pick 166. Then we don't have picks until 239 and 241. Something could always happen to trade back in. But then you're going to have a slew of undrafted free agents. So if you're on Twitter, check that out. That's usually pretty quick for updating when we get undrafted free agents. But I will be constantly refreshing, uploading. I'll have player profiles pretty close to available. Then I'll hurry and create some stuff, get it together, and I'll put out videos, just short videos, so you guys are updated and know who we pick up. I'll do stuff that shows the entire roster, the 90-man roster, as we fill it in. There'll be a lot coming up here in this next couple days. We'll have the roster filled out here within the next week. And then in a couple weeks, we're getting into, the first weeks of camp. And then there's a big gap once they've met and gone over the basics with the team. Then there's a big gap until June, which will be time I need to take my kids on a vacation. Yeah, that kid from Washington here, I'll bring it back up so you guys can see real quick, since we have a minute. We went over this earlier, but I'll do it now. The Beast article, kid from Washington that we're talking about, Ontario Thompson. Dane Brugler has as a 6th round grade, 7th round grade, 6.13, but he's very quick. Look at his 40 time, 4.73 compared to everybody else. Zane Durant has a quick one, but he's smaller. He doesn't have as good a gap integrity. Caleb Proctor also smaller. So these guys at that 4.79 speed that he has, 4.73 speed, he's bigger for that. So that's actually, if the Bears are going quick, you're going to get it. And if we go look at the write-up on him, number 24, defensive tackle 24. We'll do this one more time. If the Bears want to go quick, here's your guy for quick. And they brought him in for a top 30 visit. Blocked punt, 2 blocked punts. He's had some blocked punts. But Thompson needs to develop better consistency, but his upfield quickness, raw strength, and special teams impact, 3 blocked punts in college are intriguing qualities that can be further developed. And then we looked on Twitter, and there's some good stuff on Twitter about his explosiveness. So this is a player the Bears probably have on their radar. It doesn't mean other teams do, but where do the Bears feel comfortable that they can select him on their board and get the player that they wanted if that's who they want. And I'm fine with that. If the Bears are high on this profile, if they like the kid, do it. Do it. All right, let's refresh this because we're now to pick 160. Guard Billy Schrauth from Notre Dame has come off the board. Who did the Vikings pick? I missed that one. Vikings took one of the 2 fullbacks. Did they take Heinrich? Heinrich is a Swiss Army knife if they took him. They took Bredson, tight end. Max Bredson from Michigan. The Buccaneers have now taken Billy Strouth. I'm going to have to switch over. Right now, PFF is not updating as quickly. There we go. Now it's updated. All right, we're getting close. We're getting close, guys. I'm actually going to switch over to PFSN because they are a little quicker than PFF right now. I like PFF's profiles and stuff, but let's remove this one. I'm going to bring up PFSN because they're a little quicker right now. Like they've got the Steelers on the board. Man, your TV is the quickest thing right now. Strouth has already been picked. Steelers pick is done. The Chiefs pick is in as well. At pick 161, looks like they traded with the Steelers. Sorry, so not that's what happened. They traded with the Steelers. All right, we're here. We're on it. Dude, that kid has got some athleticism. He's tall and he's big. Taylon Green, quarterback, should be a wide receiver or even a tight end if he adds about 30 pounds of muscle. It would be an interesting conversion while still being a backup quarterback. Yeah. All right, so we're waiting on the Chiefs pick at 161. They traded up with the Steelers, it looks like. Yeah, Ontario Thompson, that 938 RAS score. We were looking at that on Twitter earlier and looking at some of his highlights. Looked pretty good. Let's go. I like the Malik Muhammad pick. That was a good pick. Chiefs have selected Emmett Johnson, running back out of Nebraska. So now we're going to switch back again because that was on PFF. All these guys, they keep switching which ones are more up to date. PFF has this one. Emmett Johnson from Nebraska has been selected by the Chiefs. Good pick by the Chiefs. That's a good pick. I like Emmett Johnson. Quality. He had a huge year this year. All right, we're 5 picks away. 5 picks away. We got the Ravens on the clock, and then we got the Vikings, Jaguars, Titans, and then the Bears are up again. And the Bills have had a ton of picks this draft. Ton. Excuse me, guys. All right, Ravens, Vikings, Jaguars, Titans, then the Bears. On the clock. Getting close. You always want 2 to 3 solid running backs. You always need to have a couple guys. Never want to be a one running back team. That never works out well. That guy gets injured and you're screwed. Nick Singleton with the foot. It's funny. I was watching on Swifties a minute ago just because I want to see what Greg Gabriel had to say. Greg Gabriel was trying to figure out why Nick Singleton is not being drafted. Yeah, and I mentioned on there that he has a broken foot, and Greg Gabriel. No, he doesn't. Like, Greg, you always just want to argue with everything. Like he does. He has a broken foot right now. He's not going to be ready for camp to open. That's been open. I'm cool with it because it's a metatarsal. It's his toe, and he should be better by the time the season starts. But I like Nick Singleton too. I like Nick Singleton a lot. I've mocked him several times on here. I also like some of the bigger guys. Seth McGowan, I think, is still available. And the Bears brought him in, and he was a high prospect. Seth McGowan was, he was very high prospect. He ended up having to leave school and come back after the off-field trouble and arrest. I don't want to go into the details without remembering it, but it's probably in here. Maybe it's not. Arrested, pled guilty to felony larceny, so thievery. Served 3 months in jail, year of probation, dismissed from Oklahoma. He was a high prospect. I'm talking like 4 or 5 star prospect. Middle of a remarkable redemption story, but he's a thumper. Like he would be a good between the tackles in power concept. So he would be a good guy for the Bears to get as a third down goal line guy. I'd be really happy to see us take Seth McGowan. That would be a phenomenal pick. Replace Roschon Johnson for sure. He's in a redemption story. Stay away from trouble. If you did get in trouble, fix it, all right? But we also do have some guys on the roster right now that I feel coming off injury would be good. Britton Brown, Deion Hankins, the Bears were higher on than a lot of fans were. I still think we need that big middle of the in-gap thumper. Yeah, Rashawn Benny would be a good pick. We just looked over him. I didn't scout him as hard as I should, but as we were looking at stats, just barely, and his size, I think that'd be a good guy. I mean, right here in the 5th round, anybody that fits the profile would be good. Xavier Harris, no. He gets upright. People get into his path. He's terrible. I'd be shocked if Xavier Harris is drafted. Take him as a prospect, as a practice squad guy to learn from. See if he can do some with the coaching, but not as a. I think the Bears like this kid from Washington. Wouldn't be shocked if that happens. So the Ravens have taken cornerback Chandler Rivers from Duke, who on the big board there you see is one of the top remaining players. So Chandler Rivers is off the board. He goes to the Baltimore Ravens. Now the Vikings are on the clock. The Vikings are on the clock. All right, we're just a couple away. We're 3 away. Vikings, Jaguars, Titans, then us. Who are we going to get with 166? So those who are just jumping in, if you're saying what Washington guy, I'll do it one more time real quick. We'll share it. This is the guy the Bears met with for a top 30 visit from Washington. His name is Ontario Thompson. He's got the fastest 40 time and fastest 10-yard split, solid broad jump and short shuttle, high RAS score, 9.4, something like that. Good quickness, good upfield quickness and raw strength. Someone the Bears could develop for sure. This would be a good tackle prospect. There's also a lot of edge prospects the Bears could take. I wouldn't be shocked if we trade down and to be able to get an extra pick here. Won't be shocked one bit. Lots of options for the Bears. Yeah, I just don't see – I don't see UR Bernard getting drafted by a team. I can see them bringing him in for, in the 90-man roster to have fun with him in camp. I don't see them taking him as – he's never played a snap of football. They don't have RAS scores in the Beast article. They don't show the RAS there. What does the Beast say about Rashawn Benny? I don't know how high they were on him. Let's go look. Let's go look together. Let's go find where he was. Zane Durant, Monte Capart, Cameron Ball, Caleb Proctor, Nick Barrett, Rashawn Benny. They've got him as a 4th, 5th round grade. Let's see. Did not test out with his speed or agility. Short shuttle, not bad. Tad narrow, but wide hipped with outstanding arm length. Initial quickness forces blockers to be at their best. Powerful, uses his full extension to stack and find the football. Heavy rip swipe hands. Yeah, that's right. We already looked at this. These are some of the things I like. The things I didn't like. Average agility, gets elongated with his lower body movement. Pass rush instincts and counters aren't polished. Ball carriers can elude him at the line. I don't like that at all. Pad level gets away from it. Contact. But overall, his summary, Benny isn't yet the sum of his parts, but he has athletic twitch with the size and arm length to be disruptive at the pro level. He has the talent to see the field as a rookie while an NFL staff coaches the rest out of him. So not bad. I mean, I'll take anyone that fits that profile here at this point in the draft. Anyone that fits that profile that is athletic, can give us a little bit of a boost, I'm good with that. Let's get back on here. All right, got to refresh this because it's way behind. We're on Jaguars now, are picking right now. Their pick is in. So Charles Demings is a fun small school guy. I like the pick there for the Vikings. I don't like the Vikings taking him, but the Vikings have taken him. Now we're just a couple picks away. We got the Jaguars, Titans, and the Bears. Pick is in for the Jaguars. We're getting real close here. We're going over just over 3 hours now on this. If you guys haven't hit the like button, hit the like button. Appreciate you guys tuning in and being a part of it. This is what we've been building up for all year. I will have a lot more. I'm not going to stay on much longer after pick 166. We will go over the player. We'll look stuff up on Twitter. We'll look it up on the Beast article. We'll go over him. And then I'm going to log off and get some food and rest up a little bit until the end of the draft, 239, 241, and then undrafted free agency. There's going to be a ton of players added to this roster tonight. All right, so the Jaguars have taken tight end Tanner Koziel from Houston. I think he's the big, tall guy. He's like 6'7", more of a receiver type of tight end. So someone that I wasn't considering for the Bears. Yeah, 6'6.5", 247 is what they've got on the screen. So Tanner Koziel is off the board. Yeah, but I don't like the Packers center as much. They did take a couple of picks away there, but who's the fastest kicker on the board? All right, the Titans pick is in. We'll probably see it on the screen before it actually gets announced, unless they go to commercial. Nope, because they're behind there. So we'll probably see it live as we watch up here. Maybe I'll turn it up so you guys can hear too. We're getting close. We're getting close. We're getting really, really close. Here's a trade. Oh, there's. So Tyree Wilson, they're discussing that trade. That's wild. Former first rounder. Wild. Wild. Just did not pan out. Sometimes these first rounders don't pan out. That's the thing about the draft, guys. You never know who's going to pan out. That's why you go with who you have researched and done all the analysis on. The Bears have got their big board. They got their war room. And they are set on the guys they like. No trade, please. Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if the Bears trade right here to get some value, though. I won't be shocked one bit to get an extra pick. All right, the Titans have taken Nick Singleton. So Nick Singleton is off the board. The Titans have gone with who was a couple of years ago projected to be a first, second rounder in the draft. Then has slipped down a little bit. And then he had his foot, a broken foot this offseason. Was projected to be a third rounder before that. Now he's slipped all the way to the 5th round. The Bears are on the clock. Bears are on the clock. I need my defensive tackle or edge right here. I need a defensive lineman. Give me a defensive lineman. Come on, let's go. The Bears pick is in. The Bears were ready. They were ready for this. The Bears pick is in. Who's it going to be? All right, that's not up to date. Let's refresh this one more time. The Bears pick is in. Nothing there yet. All right, I'm going to make this bigger. No, there's plenty of defensive linemen left that are good. Malik Muhammad. And now the Bears select. Nothing yet. Pick is in. Offensive rank 6th. Defensive rank 29th. I'm going to turn it up a little bit. Sorry if you guys can hear that, but I want to hear what the Bears are going to pick. We got people rooting for kicker. Want Rager. Rayshon Benny would be fun. Here's your defensive interior guys. Dante Corleone. There's a lot more high-quality edges available. Mikael Kamara is someone that came in for a top 30 visit. Mason Reiger. Max Lewin, Caden Curry. A lot of guys available here. Let's refresh. Nothing yet. Let's go. Anxiety is killing me. Linebacker Kahan Elliott from Arizona State is our pick. Linebacker Kahan Elliott. We are absolutely ignoring. We're ignoring the defensive line today. Kahan Elliott, who is the top-rated linebacker left on the board. 6'2", 235. He's going to be an outside linebacker. He'll be special teams guy for sure. 7 sacks, so he's played some edge. Did we really just go small edge? If that's what we did, I think it's off-ball linebacker. That's who we picked, Kahan Elliott. Let's go look at the Beast article real quick. They don't have it updated here, but on your screen it showed Kahan Elliott. So Kahan Elliott. We are, yeah, TJ Edwards could get traded. I don't think this is a player you get rid of TJ Edwards for, but let's go look at Kahan Elliott on the Beast article. He was the highest rated linebacker left on the board on PFF. Here's the Beast article. I'll find him real quick for you guys. We'll switch over there. All right, so Dane Brugler from the Beast. Let me pull this up. Whoa, Dane Brugler had him rated very high. Dane Brugler was all in on Kahan Elliott. Best player available. Bears have gone best player available again. All right, share screen. The Beast article. So here is the linebackers. You got Sonny Styles, Jacob Rodriguez, C.J. Allen, Jake Golday, Anthony Hill, Josiah Trotter, Kyle Lewis, then Kahan Elliott right here as a third rounder, quick guy, 4'5", 166 split. Caleb Elarms Orr, Bryce Boetcher, Jimmy Rolder. A lot of these guys have already been drafted, so he was best player available. They had him as the 8th linebacker. Let's go down there. All right, so here is Kahan Elliott. All right, I'm not going to read this whole thing. We can do more on that later. Was it New Mexico State, transferred to Arizona State, passes the eye test with adequate arm length and firm muscle in his upper and lower halves. Let me make that bigger. I apologize. 1 second. Let's just make this all full screen here. So here's Kahan Elliott, the Bears' recent pick. All right. Mirrors well at the line with a feel for sifting and drifting and driving. Plays with confidence to fly to the football. Models his game after Fred Warner. Enough speed to stay with arm's length of tight ends on seams and running backs on the wheels. Extra coach on the field. Communicates all calls to his teammates. Flashes contact balance and pop in his hands to penetrate pocket as a blitzer. Described as a plus kid with grown man maturity by coaching staff. Sophomore team captain at New Mexico. Blah, blah, blah. Weaknesses: average twitch athlete, lacks suddenness getting off blocks, climbers can take him for a ride, doesn't always fill blockers in the peripherals to get trapped inside. Over pursuit leads to missed tackles. See the 2025 Utah tape. Limited in coverage and struggles to find the right eye balance. Tardy route recognition leaves him late to drive on routes. Was hoping to see more from him on special teams coverage. Overall, Elliott must prove his value on passing downs, but his instincts and football character are attractive qualities for what NFL teams desire at middle linebacker. All right, so let me go here real quick. Let's look up Kahan Elliott. Bears fans or Bears Twitter is always fast to post something. So let's go look real quick on Twitter. On Twitter. Let's go look at Twitter real quick. Stop screen there. Share screen. All right, Kahan Elliott. I've typed it in. All right, so Kahan Elliott had 98 tackles and 7 sacks in 2025. Right there. Number 44, it looks like. Boom. Good instincts right there from what I saw. Following slow. Got him. Good. You can't dislike the pick. I mean, we're adding a quality player. A little timid on that one. That's good hit. That's good. Good instincts right there, looking through the seam. Read, react. That was quick. Closing gap. That was good. Bears add some value on special teams with Arizona State linebacker Kahan Elliott. I think it's 166 overall. Physical linebacker with impressive blitzing ability. Don't know how high the athletic ceiling or coverage skills are, but he'll be a good third phase guy. Blah, blah, blah. So there's your pick. Kahan Elliott in the 5th round, 166th overall. How do you feel? How do we feel in the chat? Palander Dramatic or Dramstad. I'm sorry, I botched your name. Became a new YouTube member. I do appreciate you being a member of the channel. What's his Raz? I don't know. We'll find out. Good pick, W pick, best player available type of thing again. 8.74, Lutero says. So Levante, thanks for pulling that up quick. 8.74. We're looking for good players at this point in the 5th round, guys. I'm fine with this pick. I don't have any problem with it. We just need to remember.
This is a good deal, Jeff. This is a good deal for both of us.
It's a good deal. That's a good deal. Graded 7th rounder by who? We just looked up that Dane Brugler has him a 3rd round grade, and PFF had him as a 100th overall prospect. I don't know why you're saying 7th rounder. I don't know. It's easy to be negative. It's really easy to be negative. But if you're looking for quality players that were high prospects, this is a player that was just best player available. I mean, look right here. Kahan Elliott, 3rd round grade, 83rd overall prospect, and we just got him at 166. You can look at 15 different places, but overall, he was the 8th highest rated linebacker and someone that can help that linebacker room. So I'm not down on that pick at all. I wish we would have got a linebacker or a defensive lineman. I hope we still do later on. Hope we trade in if there's a guy they really like. But this is a good point right here. Javon, Bears got their guys. That's the truth. They got the guys they wanted. Oh, grabbing a 7th rounder in the 3rd. Hey, if Ben Johnson wants that 4.28 speed, I'm not one to question that. Xavier Thomas, many had him as a 3rd round as a 5th round prospect. Yeah, we saw him on the mock drafts as a 3rd round prospect, but you know, I'm not negative on this one. Yeah, but ESPN's you really think ESPN is a better source than Dane Brugler? I don't really think so. I don't think so. All right, guys, that's what I got for you today. I'm going to log off so I have a chance here to recoup before we get to the end of the 7th round, and then we get to undrafted free agency. I appreciate all of you guys tuning in. If you haven't hit the like button, do that. 500 at one point on every single one of these videos we've done is every live. It's been fun to hang out with you guys. We're going to have a ton coming up. I'm going to break down the entire roster once we get through undrafted free agency. We will pick up a running back or a linebacker. Or I'm sorry, a defensive tackle and a defensive end. That will happen. Will it happen in the 7th round, undrafted free agency? I don't know. It's going to happen somewhere, though. But I do appreciate you guys being a part of it. Don't get into this mentality.
No! No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Don't get into that. Get into
the fuck Green Bay.
Of course, as always, FGB. So appreciate you guys. Till later. I'll have plenty more today when we get through the 7th round undrafted free agents. I'll have a ton coming at you. So until then,
Sports making Chicago proud.